again, everybody, and welcome to our special Memorial Day weekend edition of the Jim Cornette Experience. Today on a show to remember, we're going to tell you why modern wrestling is so forgettable. We're going to remind you who you should forget about, and we're going to prove that watching bad wrestling causes memory loss. And to join me in this, he's what the fuck is his name? Oh yeah, the great Bryan first or last. Hello, Bryan.
Aloha, Jim. My pleasure to sit here while you struggle through a bit. And then be here again. I don't know what you were just doing. What was that?
I'm tired from watching a lot of forgettable wrestling that's caused me, I think, enough brain cells in a short period of time were killed that now I don't know whether to wind my ass or scratch my watch. I tell you, I got a lot of pressure on me, Bryan. A pressure, it's like a heaviness. Did I tell you State Farm canceled my insurance? They said I was a bad neighbor. Did I tell you that? Did I tell you I went to the county fair and they kicked me out of the freak show for being too much of a distraction? Did I let you know about that?
You did not, no.
Anyway, no. And I tell you, we're going to talk about the bonus today on the program. I watched NXT this week. We gave up on it a while back because it was getting so boring. A bunch of mid-card guys and Johnny Sameface and his weird-looking family was on every program, and we couldn't take it. But I popped back in because we had extra time this week with the changing of the schedule of the other program. Had a little bit more time to watch NXT since it's earlier now. And it was actually one of their better efforts. We'll talk about that. But then that was all negated by what I just saw just not even 12 hours ago. But I've had a tough time this week, Bryan. I'll get that out early. My email, I said this several weeks ago on the program here. They had sent me an email. My email people sent me an email. GoDaddy. I knew I didn't trust a company named GoDaddy. They sent me an email several weeks ago. We're going to change your email platform, but you don't have to do anything. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be a clusterfuck, right? And it come to find out, it certainly was. They said they were going to do it in June. And I figured, okay, I'll get all the emails answered before June. And as a matter of fact, we'll give the figure update and the merchandise update in a moment. But this week I had everything all laid out, everything signed, boxed up. All the internationals knew where everything was going and when everything was going. And I said, now I'm going to sit down. What was it? Tuesday morning, Wednesday morning. I'm going to answer I've a dozen emails or so from people inquiring about their package or something. Somebody in Wisconsin said the post office may have lost our package. Please help. I'm going to answer these emails. I got some personal business on there too. I'm going to try to find some stuff from people commenting so we can read it on the air here, get the viewers involved in the program. I'm going to do all of that. But as a Tuesday or Wednesday morning, they sent me an email, or I saw it Tuesday or Wednesday morning, saying, we're changing your email in 24 hours. Well, it was from the previous day. I'm like, fuck. I'm about to head out to the post office. It's very 7-something in the morning. As soon as I get back from the post office, I better start on these emails, right? So I get back, and I do like 2 of them. And then all of a sudden, the thing won't load up, and I got blah, 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 and I got to get out and try to get back in, and there it is. A complete clusterfuck of epic proportions. Because apparently, from what I've found out from Hotchkiss, GoDaddy, and once again, I trust somebody named International Email Corporation, but not GoDaddy. But they apparently have just handed this email service that they've been giving off to Microsoft because you're getting redirected to these Microsoft people. And when the page comes up, there's nothing there. There's no trace of emails. I can't figure out what any of this shit is. There's a bunch of different, it's all laid out differently. The emails are not even coming up. There's little icons and things everywhere, but there's no words to tell you what they are. And what the fuck is, so I asked Stace, she can't figure it out. What the fuck is this, was the quote. So for like 3.5 days, I couldn't see, respond to, read, know what the fuck was going on with any of the email. Because I had to call Hotchkiss, get him to come over, and he's got a busy schedule. The Velvet Colander has gotten a new market. They're now going to be on in New Albany, Jeffersonville, and Sellersburg. That punk rock cooking show he hosts. I've told you about that. Anyway, so he comes over, and I popped the screen up. I said, look at this. There's no email. There's nothing here. He said, well, you got to click on your mail thing. I said, where's that? And he points to this little blue blotch over on the left-hand side of the screen, but it's got no label. It doesn't say what it is. He said, well, put your mouse over it, right? And then a word pops up. It says Outlook. I said, what has that got to do with mail? How would you know that's mail, right? I don't want to look out the fucking window. So anyway, long story short, too late. He spends 2 hours and he finds, I don't know what he did. There was a lot of screens popping up and a lot of typing going on. And he found a way to reroute my emails onto another email thing that looks not like hieroglyphics, but actually has, here's who sent you the email, here's what it's about, and here's when it came in, so you can read that, and words that you can click on for like reply, forward, delete, whatever the case. You know, all the shit you're supposed to be able to do. 2 hours plus to fucking do that. And they expect normal people minding their own business, innocent small town bird lawyers, to be able to fucking just figure all this shit out. Would you have been able to figure that out?
Yeah, I don't think it's that difficult to figure out email issues. When I say figure out, I mean troubleshoot, figure out who can fix it, have it dealt with.
Yeah, have it. Well, that's what I did. Yeah, don't try to fucking impugn my goddamn intelligence over here, Mr. First. I'll have you know. Anyway, so if you've been waiting for me to email you over the last week, hopefully by the time you hear the sound of my voice, I will have done that. Because after we finish recording this very important program, I'm going to try to get started on all this stuff now that I can find it. But GoDaddy has now gone to, along with Go Fight Live, go fuck yourself. In my opinion, for heaven's sake. You don't seem too concerned about all the problems I'm going through.
Did you say along with Go Fight Live?
Yeah, that's what Go Fight Live, when they were doing when they weren't doing the Ring of Honor pay-per-views. Everyone they tried to do never fucking aired. I said, why don't we change their name from Go Fight Live to Go Fuck Yourself?
Are they still in business? Are they still around? I hope
not.
They can't be, right?
I can't imagine how. No, I mean, it was 10 years ago that the fucking club-footed fucking boss of that operation in Fort Lauderdale at the War Memorial Auditorium WrestleMania weekend of 2012, our first day of our 2-day stand of internet pay-per-views, couldn't figure out what was going on with the audio, so he went around behind the lunchroom table they had set up with their off-brand equipment, stepped on a fucking $9.99 power strip from Home Depot that the whole thing was plugged into, and knocked us all off the air. Anyway, but back to my current day activities. As I briefly mentioned, Action Figure Armageddon has come to an end. The last international action figure order was shipped out on Friday morning by Superstar Bree over at the post office. Everything that you ordered, if you were a customer of JimCornette.com, Cornette's Collectibles, through the end of March, which is when this whole thing blew up, everything has been sent out. I'm not saying everybody's got it yet. These internationals have gone out over the last 2 weeks. They should be starting to arrive now, but give it a little more time. But domestically, if you don't have your shit, email me. And guess what I got myself to commemorate this occasion, Brian?
What's that?
A cake.
No.
What the fuck would I get to? I went over to they've got a great place here, Nothing Bunt Cakes. That's the name of the store. And they got these big old bunt cakes. And they got this rich, thick icing. And in a variety of kinds and flavors and etc. And I got me a celebratory cake. And I'm as soon as we finish with this program also, I'm going to celebrate and eat me some cake. And as far as anyone, I know everybody's been asking what's the deal with when the store is going to reopen. The all new and improved JimCornette.com is coming sometime this summer. We're targeting now July, because even if the website was available tomorrow, I would still be taking some time off because I've got other projects that we have to get into instead of jumping right back into the merchandise pool. But I've been open for 16 days in the year 2021, and I've been filling orders for 12 hours a day for 2 months straight. So I'm taking a little break, and we're doing some other projects, which among them, for the folks who've been waiting for more cameos, Father's Day is approaching, upcoming in the month of June, and to commemorate and mark that occasion, we're doing 2 cameo days and it doesn't have to be for Father's Day. If you want me to tell somebody they're a real mother, I can do that too. But we're going to go 50 cameos will go on sale Sunday, June 6th. That's this coming Sunday as you hear this. Not tomorrow, but this coming Sunday. Sunday, June 6th at noon Eastern, and 50 more on sale Sunday, June 13th at noon Eastern at cameo.com/Jim Cornette. Just be sitting on it waiting, because they do go quickly. And I forgot to mention this on the drive-thru last week, but I plugged it on the experience. $10 from each of these, both sessions. So $1,000 total will go to this year's WHAS Crusade for Children that's taking place next weekend, June 5th and 6th, here in Louisville. And it's not a sales tactic because they sell out anyway, but we haven't had a chance to do anything with merchandise for the Crusade in a while, so this is making up for that. And I think I gave the wrong website last week, but if you go to WHAScrusade.org, you can donate as well. WHAScrusade.org. For anybody in the Metro Louisville area, Kentuckiana, they're going to be watching the telethon. That's what you do every year here in Louisville. You watch the Crusade. You're probably going to see everybody in town that you know at some time or another coming in to make a donation. And they broadcast for, I think last year was 30-something hours. But anyway, we've mentioned 100% of the donations go to special needs kids in all 120 Kentucky counties, and I think 50-something in southern Indiana. And they've raised $195 million over the past 67 years, which is by far the biggest and most successful local fundraising event anywhere in the United States. So if you can, do something for them. And we will be doing the cameos again, and they'll be coming out quickly. The same week that we sell them, like on June 6th, we're going to fill them within a couple of days. June 13th, same thing. So everything's delivered by Father's Day. What are you getting for Father's Day, Brian?
What am I receiving as a gift for being a father?
You have minions there. You have children around the house. What are you are you getting a DNA test or anything, or what are you getting for Father's Day?
I haven't requested any gifts. I'm sure I'll get some nice custom-made cards and maybe a nice breakfast. And quite frankly, I buy myself everything I want as soon as I want it. There isn't much people can do to give me gifts.
Oh, come on.
So all I ask for is like a little extra sleep, maybe. That would really just make me happy. Give me time to shower. Like, that would make me happy.
Wait a minute. You say homemade cards. So now while you just said you're buying yourself whatever you want whenever you want it, you make your kids make their own cards to give you?
No.
You won't give the kids an allowance?
First of all, the kids have an allowance. Well, a couple of the kids do. Second of all,
they just don't care to spend any of it on you then.
They like creating a card and making a little picture and drawing some. Well, the oldest one doesn't do it anymore, but I have a year left with the 11-year-old, but she still may make me a card.
Yeah, I think she's going to be saving up her money for her Christmas club early, and she'll, here, Daddy, I'll take this. Here, just draw a heart on a piece of paper. Let the dog piss on the corner of it. He'll be happy. We've had some controversy. I won't say that's too strong of a term, but people have tweeted me. They may have emailed me. I don't know yet. I haven't seen everything. But they tweeted me on a couple of the clips that we've put out. I can't remember what show they were from. It's recent, probably the drive-through, your program. We were answering questions, and the clips have been up there on YouTube and etc. And people have tweeted me two things over I can't remember how the question was worded, but what's the heat between Teddy Long and Ric Flair, and is Sting a snitch? And when you asked that question, I was like, what? And what we basically said, which this was not in any way provocative commentary, I said, I don't know why Teddy and Flair are mad at each other. I've always liked both of them. I've known Flair since the early 80s and was a fan of his before that. He's done a bunch for me professionally. I never sat down with him and said, hey, what do you think of Teddy Long? And conversely, I've known Teddy since the mid-'80s when he was refereeing for us at TBS, and I've had many conversations with Teddy. He's a hilarious motherfucker. Used to work for James Brown before he got in the wrestling business. Love Teddy Long. Theodore's great. I never sat down with, hey, what do you think of Ric Flair? So, we speculated on, what the issue was, but I said I didn't really know. And with Sting, you said, is Sting a snitch? And I said, what? What are you talking about? And you said the questioner followed up with something he heard that Sting had told on the boys when they were messing around on their wives, or somehow had been involved in that, right? Well, that doesn't sound too good. I had people actually tweet me, why are you trying to pretend like you don't know that it was on such and such shoot interview, and it was on such and such on YouTube. This story's been told. Oh, fuck. For one thing, let me get this. I don't even watch my own shoot interviews back. And I'm sorry, while I have nothing against many of these people that do shoot interviews, I have not seen every shoot interview that anybody has ever done. If it didn't happen on a broadcast television program or in front of me or in front of people that I've had numerous conversations with about that thing, I guarantee you that I know professional facts and backstories and history and highlights of most anybody who's been anybody in professional wrestling, but I'm not aware of every argument that two guys ever had with each other at Denny's in Des Moines. So, and apparently it wasn't Sting that was the snitch, because it was on this shoot interview. Sting got religion and told his wife everything he'd done, but also told his wife everything everybody else had ever done. And she picked up the phone and called all those people's wives.
I actually heard from someone, I won't use their name, who was a WCW employee, who after they heard the show wrote to me and said, the story I heard was Sting's wife told Luger's wife when Sting fessed up about the unfaithfulness. I can't swear she didn't tell other wives.
Here's where I stand on that. I'm all for anybody being able to share anything they want with their spouse or significant other. But if you're so much of a fucking stooge that you spread your friends' indiscretions to your wife, knowing that you probably will not be able to trust those particular secrets, you're a fucking idiot. So, if that's I heard there was some issue years ago between Sting and Luger's friendship. Apparently that's it. But what the fuck? How do you get somebody in the wrestling business to talk to you again?
You find religion.
No, that's what he
I know, that's the catch.
He found religion and then fucking pissed off all his friends by running his fucking mouth. I'm just saying it. I've been around wrestlers and wrestling for almost 50 years now. Good God. And a lot of people say, well, the worst thing you can do in a wrestling business, somebody is hurt them on purpose. Actually, that's not true. Because if you hurt somebody on purpose, yes, it's bad, and yes, it's unprofessional, but there may be a gray area there. It's not like everybody else in the bill. Well, he hurt so-and-so on purpose. I'm not going to fucking work with him. Well, did he just do it because he could? In which case, nobody wants to work with that guy. Or did he do it because that guy told his wife that he was fucking around? In which case, everybody would understand that, and the guy would have no heat. It depends. If you hurt somebody on purpose, there's generally something behind it that needs investigating further. If you're just a careless, reckless fuck doing shit you don't know how to do or you shouldn't be trying to begin with, or just assing off or impaired or whatever, that's worse than hurting somebody on purpose, because there's absolutely no reason for that. And then, what's worse than that is fucking up a guy's personal life because you've gone mental and suddenly believe in the invisible man in the sky, and part of your penance is to tell your wife everything not only you have done, but that somebody else has done too. It's none of her fucking business. So I don't see how Sting had a lot of fucking support on that one for people to still talk to him now that we've heard these details.
I understand
anyway,
that's why Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky are so mad at him.
But is he still stooging?
That's what he does. He puts the face paint on. He calls everyone's wife.
I've got to tell you that so-and-so is messing around with so-and-so, and woo, it's Sting, or it's Stooge.
Hello, Brandy? Brandy, it's showtime. It's me, Sting.
It's showtime.
I just want to let you know, I've been seeing Cody with Red Velvet backstage and on camera and kind of in the spot you used to be in. Not trying to cause any problems, but praise the Lord. I'll talk to you later.
Well, anyway, I'm sorry if I didn't know all the WCW 2000 era backstage gossip or what has transpired when I wasn't around between Theodore H. Long and Nature Boy Ric Flair. But, I clearly label these answers as, if I don't know, I say, well, I don't know. Could it be, or might it be, but I don't know.
The wrestler is trying to get out of a bad relationship. Like, Sting, call my wife, please.
Yeah. Anyway, come over and have lunch. I'm really trying to run this hag off I'm stuck with. I know if anybody can break something up, it's you. Fucking hell. Somebody else needs to break something up. We read the comments. Was it the drive-through this past week? These things happen so quickly. Maybe it was the experience last week, but we read the comments from Jim Ross. The most innocuous, unprovocative statement. Some interviewer asked him who the best wrestler in the world was in his opinion, and he, in his diplomatic way, said, boy, Randy Orton's really good. Put him over in this. But a lot of people might say Omega. I can't argue with those folks. Whatever. And God damn, it was like he had turned around and taken every AEW fan and just sodomized their puppy in front of them. And then the boys, the AEW wrestlers, quote unquote, started defending publicly Twinkle Toes McFingerbang from the horrible slight that was given him by nobody. And Jericho and Hardy both had to chime in, and Jericho's, well, I've been in the ring with everyone, and I definitely know that he's the best in the world. And was it Hardy or Jericho or both that hashtagged, I stand with Omega?
I'm not sure. I only saw that briefly. I don't know who started it.
I stand with, like he's the oppressed indigenous people of Slovakia. I stand with Omega against this horrible insult and slander that Jim Ross perpetrated on him by innocuously stating a true opinion that all around Randy Orton might be the best professional wrestler in the world. But if he's not, as JR said, some people might say Harpo. He wouldn't argue with him. That's because it wouldn't be worth his time to argue with anybody that thinks that Harpo Fingerfuck is the greatest wrestler in the world. But good God, how sensitive are they? Have they all convinced themselves this? Is it the ploy because he's the EVP and Hardy wants to stay in good? And of course, Jericho will suck any ass that's presented to him these days. Is it that they're worried for themselves because if people start actually getting a good close look at Harpo's work and his mannerisms and everything he does, the prissy prancing, sissy dancing, finger pointing, gesticulating, that it will hurt the whole company because they will see through this illusion that's been created that this fucking nitwit knows what he's doing? So they're doing it in a self-serving fashion to keep people from smartening up that Harpo's an idiot? What just the knee-jerk reaction? Oh my God, no! You can't say he's not the best. On a planet with Volter on it, this fucking clown thinks he's the best wrestler in the world. What is the motivation behind that? I understand the fans, because fans of anything this silly are going to be silly in nature and overreact to anything. But the boys, they got to know, don't they? Or have they deluded themselves as well as trying to foist this onto the public?
In terms of Omega's in-ring ability?
Yes.
I mean, it really started with the boys. It started with some of those boys. I mean, I think the first people I ever heard say that Omega was the best in the world were actually the Young Bucks in an interview. Well,
of course. I mean, because what does their opinion mean, since they're what they are? I'm talking about somebody like Jericho that has been in the ring with everybody from Kurt Angle to Steve Austin to down the line.
And he's trying to hold on to his youth. He's trying to fit in with a younger crowd. He's the oldest guy actively there, and he's also the guy who's been stuck in a midlife crisis for 25 years.
But that's what I'm saying. For him to say a blatantly ridiculous statement like that this fucking clown is the best wrestler in the world, and I know the bar is lower than ever before, but still, has he deluded himself into thinking that, even though it's obviously patently, observably not true? Is he saying it just to keep sucking up to the boss and the one of the EVPs? Is he doing it self-servingly? Because once again, if people realize that this whole thing is a fucking, it's the old shell game with Omega, he's not really that good, and you can see it now that he's on our TVs every week and has been, and he doesn't want the whole company to fucking suffer for that because they've picked the wrong guy to put the belt on. What is his motivation for bullshitting? Because he, of all people, would know that's not true. I mean, is he reconciling in his mind, well, he's the best in the world except for the WWE because they're not wrestling?
I think the AEW locker room is really good when they feel an external strike at coming together and trying to fight back. I mean, that's what they do. And I mean, the other funny thing is Jim Ross is rolling this. And, I've always been open about my feelings about Jim Ross. I've talked about when I thought he was good. I've talked about my issues with his behavior personally. But I feel he gets a raw shake in this whole thing. He was asked a simple question, gave a very innocuous answer, and all of a sudden it turns into this. Omega himself, when he tweeted out a response to this, mentioned announcers who don't know who the WWF champion is, or I forget how he phrased it, from when Jim Ross made a mistake.
He had slipped. Instead of AEW, he said WWE champion weeks ago on the program.
So now Omega's taking a shot at their lead announcer.
Yeah, because he's an idiot.
Because he didn't say anything bad about him. That's the other thing. He didn't say anything bad about him. He prefers Randy Orton. That's all he said. Judge him for that. But I mean, don't attack Jim Ross for things he didn't say.
Omega is an entitled idiot that has had these goofs making over him and fawning over him and telling him how good he is, and all the fucking, goofy shit that he does can't be criticized at all. And so then when Jim Ross makes, as you said, an innocent and innocuous statement and even mentions the guy's name second, most people would say, okay, a guy that's been around the wrestling business for 50 years mentioned me second in talking about the best in the world. That's pretty fucking good. But it's, Now, fuck you, fucking Harpo. You can tell some guys that you would hate from the start no matter what happened. And this fucking insufferable artistic twat is one of them for me. He's got a bad attitude and he thinks his shit don't stink. And believe me, his shit stinks. It stinks bad. But I stand with him. That's why I tweeted Hardy back. I said, it sounds more like you kneel for Omega instead of standing for him.
See, that's the thing when it's.
But he doesn't engage with me anymore.
But Hardy's like Jericho in a sense. I mean, it's an older guy trying to hang on.
Yeah. And now he's
kissing ass publicly to just get some brownie points. That's all that was.
See on this week's TV show when he Matt Hardy busted out into a Bob Backlund fucking Mr. Backlund fit. When he got blown off as the manager of Jane Cargill. He sounded like he was imitating Mr. Backlund. Well, you just enjoy it then. You just enjoy it. Oh my God. They've all lost their minds. I don't know if it's brain damage or a midlife crisis or both of them colliding at the same time, but they have completely lost their ever-loving minds, Brad. They've gone nuts is what they've done. And I used to think it was bad when you went nuts. But now we've got a way to make it good when you go nuts. As long as you go to nuts.com, your favorite place, Brian.
Absolutely, it's my favorite place. I'm happy to be nuts. I'm nuts for nuts.com. We just about to place another order. I'm going to get more of those chocolate-covered pretzels with the toffee on it, but also the chocolate-covered gummy bears. So popular here in this house, I have to get a second one to hide here upstairs.
Yeah. Mostly normal middle-aged parents hide porn. You're hiding nuts.
I'm hiding chocolate-covered gummy bears. Even better.
Chocolate-covered gummy bears or whatever. Well, if you want to hide some nuts for the summer, if you want to squirrel some things away, you can get anything you want from nuts.com. Folks, it's the best-kept secret of snavvy snackers or savvy snackers across the country. I'll do that one again. It's the best-kept secret of It's the best-kept secret of savvy snackers across the country, nationally, nationwide. Folks, white chocolate, toffee, cashews, bourbon pecans, honey sesame sticks. It's amazing. Healthy nuts, dried fruit, flowers, grains, high-quality foods delivered straight to your door. Kid-friendly snacks like dried strawberries, custom trail mix, plus all the raw, organic, roasted, salted, and candied nuts you can imagine, even chocolate dipped. And if you've ever had your nuts candied or dipped in chocolate, you'll know it gets sticky. But these things taste great. It's a family-run business that takes pride in getting you the freshest products, and they've got gluten-free and vegan options, and delivery is so fast. Most of the orders ship the same day. You get it the next day. It's fresher than the supermarket. All you got to do is go to nuts.com and take a look at the selection. And if you want to save some money, you text experience to 64,000. Experience, EXPERIENCE to 64,000. That's 64 with 3 zeros. And you'll get free shipping on your first order from nuts.com. Experience to 64,000. Free shipping. Terms apply. Available at nuts.com/terms.
I love nuts.com. Seriously.
You love all kinds of nuts.
And chocolates, and I have a sweet tooth.
Chocolates and snacks and things, but you're eating the magic spoon so you can you can go crazy with some of the chocolate here on the nuts.
They have dried strawberries, which I had never had before. I've had dried mango, but the dried strawberries, delicious.
I had dried strawberries one time before. I didn't like them because actually they'd been in the closet for a few months, and that's why they were dried. But these things are meant to be that way.
No closet strawberries at nuts.com for the record.
No, that they've got the online one-stop pantry shop where you can get baking items and stuff for smoothies and beans and all kinds of stuff.
That's right.
It's amazing. Well, speaking of nuts, Brian, there's things in the news. Just a brief news update. I'm not going to go whole hog into this, but I just happened to be perusing the news this week, and I saw a new poll came out. And so we might do this as a recurring segment on the program because there's so many things that can fit this topic that we can't get them all in today. So I'm going to call it What Republicans Believe. Did you know, Brian, that 23% of Republicans in the United States of America believe that the government, media, and financial markets in this country are controlled by Satan-worshiping pedophiles who run a global child trafficking ring? 23%.
Wow. Things have gotten better. They used to all just blame it on us Jews. Now it's now it's gotten more demonic than they used to be.
Heat's completely off of you guys. 28% believe that a quote-unquote storm is coming soon that will sweep away the elites in power and restore our rightful leaders. I think maybe they're watching too many reruns of the 10 Commandments on Turner Classic Movies.
Yeah, this is like Game of Thrones kind of stuff.
Yes. And 28% of Republicans believe, almost 1 in 3, more than 1 in 4, believe that true American patriots, quote unquote, may have to resort to violence to save our country from the sane, rational adults that took over in January. So, for all the people who are still wrapped up with all the terrorists and the gangs that are coming in from across the border, fuck you. The real people we need to be worried about are right here, and they're registered to vote. And meanwhile, while these Republican voters believe in everything, including and up to Jewish space lasers, fucking morons, my guy, Bitch McConnell, my Kentuckian here, that apparently will never die of old age because he's a vampire, and the rest of his gang have blocked the commission to investigate the January 6th insurrection against the Capitol and the attempted overthrow of the U.S. government that was orchestrated by all of the right-wing lunatics that support our dear ex-president and then urged on and fomented by same fat, disgusting orange flesh bag. They don't want anybody to investigate what went on there and who was behind it and how it all came together. I understand also from a poll from the Cornette Foundation, 97.8% of the criminals who commit crimes are against having those crimes investigated. It's funny how that works. But we don't want any unnecessary investigations going on, according to Turtle-Faced Mitch and the rest of his gang. No unnecessary investigations. These are the people that are looking for bamboo fibers in Chinese ballots in Arizona under ultraviolet light, but they don't want any unnecessary investigations. Just wanted to make sure that we're clear on all that. And now we can bring our politics into wrestling because apparently John Cena has pissed everybody off all across the world. His first promo pissed the Chinese off, and now his apology promo has pissed off everybody else. What the fuck is going on here? I have not had time to read up on this. Do you have any further details?
I saw it briefly the other day because it kind of got big on social media, but I didn't pay too much attention to it. I kind of figured what I thought it was, and then it ended up being exactly that. So I have an article here from CNN Business. Not exactly CNBC, but it'll do. But from CNN Business, F9 star John Cena, not professional wrestling star, F9 star John Cena has professed his love for China after calling Taiwan a country during an interview that generated a backlash among fans in Hollywood's most important international market. The controversy unfolded after Cena, who plays the brother of Vin Diesel's Dom Toretto in the 9th installment of the popular Fast and Furious franchise, gave an interview to Taiwanese broadcaster TVPS promoting the film. Quote, "Taiwan is the first country that can watch F9, Cena told the broadcaster in Mandarin. Taiwan is a self-governed democratic island, but China claims it is its sovereign territory, despite the two sides being ruled separately since the end of a civil war over 70 years ago. Beijing considers any suggestion of Taiwan's independence crossing its red line and has been increasingly trying to use its economic power to police speech on the topic around the world." And after that, John Cena offered an apology. He did not refer to Taiwan by name or discuss the incident in detail, but he did say that he did a lot of interviews and made a mistake.
While he was speaking Chinese, this is the thing.
Mandarin.
Okay, man, whatever the fuck. The point is, he actually goes to the trouble to learn this language to speak to these people, which nobody else would do, and they all get pissed at him.
Here's a quote from John. "I'm sorry for my mistake. I must say now, it's very, 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 very important that I love and respect even more China and the Chinese people." So an immediate backpedal is...
He didn't say he didn't love anybody. He learned their language and called them okay, do the United Nations say, who is the arbiter and official record keeper of whether a country is a country or not in the world? The United Nations?
I'm going to look that right up. I'm going to look that up right now, actually. I'm not sure if they recognize Taiwan.
Because if I'd have been Cena, I'd say, okay, are they a country? Does the United Nations say they're a country? If the United
Cena's not going to do that.
They're a country,
no.
Then I didn't make a fucking mistake.
Cena's not going to do that. The bigger thing is this would affect all of his films and everything else in China. And like you said, he has spent years learning Mandarin for this kind of thing where his star would take him over there. And now he risked throwing it all away because he dared say the reality that they are an independent country that broke away from China. China says, no, they're not. They're ours.
But that's what I'm saying.
But he can't. He's done in China. He won't be able to do anything over there if he didn't come out and immediately apologize.
Fuck China. Who wants to go to fucking China? But besides that, he didn't say anything bad about anybody. This sounds like one of those fucking apologies Lagana would come up with. He didn't say anything bad about anybody, and he made the effort to speak in the language of the fucking local people. He had nothing to apologize for, so in his apology, he didn't really apologize for anything. He just told other people that he loves them. But couldn't they have just issued a statement, oh, translation error, sorry. And that, I'm sorry, but I would have to side with John Cena on not giving an apology if what he said was not incorrect, and just because the Chinese government's got their panties in a wad or whatever. I can't agree with an apology for that.
According to what I'm seeing here, the Republic of China, commonly known as Taiwan, has full diplomatic relations with 14 out of 193 United Nations member states. And
wait a minute, 14 out of 193?
Full diplomatic relations.
Well, they don't sound very popular.
And they maintain unofficial relations with 57 UN member states via its representative offices and consulates.
Okay, well, 57, 14 out of... So that's still 100 and something countries won't take their phone call?
Because they don't want to upset China. Who
made China boss?
I mean, they have a lot of money. They have a lot of people. They have the Wuhan lab.
We got a lot of shit. They want our shit, then we'll take their money and they can have our shit. But what would go on? Well, I know some people would flip out in this country if some movie star said that fucking Washington, D.C. was a state, but not I don't
no
think
one
they
to this
have to
degree.
apologize.
No. This video, when this clip is on YouTube, it won't be available in China.
Well, fuck them then, because I ain't learning Mandarin. Anyway,
Can you imagine Cena? He learns Mandarin and he goes out there and he almost causes an international incident.
Hey, I've made my fucking standing on international travel quite clear in that I am, the UK was wonderful and Scotland, and I hope to go to Ireland maybe someday, but Saudi Arabia and China and Korea and wherever these other fucking places are that everybody always has these stories about, they can all go fuck themselves. I will not be there, and I'm sure they won't miss me that much.
I have a follow-up.
Oh, please. Breaking news.
From Newsweek by John Feng. The headline, China media calls John Cena's apology an example for other Western stars to follow. Fast and Furious 9, star John Cena has set an example for Hollywood with his apology for Taiwan comments.
Oh my God.
A state-owned newspaper said this week as the movie surged to the top of China's box office rankings. The actor and WWE superstar was censured by fans in China after he called Taiwan a country during an interview to promote F9. He was then roundly criticized in the U.S. and on Twitter, that's in the U.S. too, I guess, but for apologizing for the apparent slip of the tongue by recording a personal message in Chinese. The Global Times, a tabloid under the auspices of the Communist Party of China, praised Cena for the timely apology, saying in an editorial on Wednesday that it reveals his willingness to uphold the values of China and sets a good example for all Westerners to follow.
Oh my God.
His attitude is something other Westerners, especially Hollywood stars, should learn from and follow. And
so now poor John, the people in America hate him, and the Chinese are holding him up as a great example of groveling and fucking salabiming to him.
Well, here's the important line now that I see it from that Global Times article. Cena showed that he realizes the importance of respecting the One China principle, which is a red line for Chinese people, and also demonstrated that he knows how important the Taiwan question is to the people of China by quickly apologizing for his mistake. So that's the thing. In China, it's all One China.
So now he's worse off than he was before, because now the people in America where he has to live don't like him.
Well, there hasn't been that big a backlash. I think people will get over this. I think people see what this is. This is a career opportunity that he's trying to fix. This is the Ultimate Warrior apologizing to some station manager's kid in whatever town it was.
Yeah, but that's because he was being a dick. In this case, John Cena was not being a dick. I'm sorry. I have a fucking genetic inability to apologize for shit that I'm not sorry for, or that I was not wrong about. In this case, if this was the thing, if I'd have called Taiwan a fucking country too. And I think John should have applied my principle when I told Lagana, fuck you, because now, instead of just having China halfway around the world mad at one guy in a fucking movie, and okay, they don't show the fucking movie. Fuck you. I'm not going to goddamn apologize when I didn't say anything wrong. But now the Americans are mad at him because he made a bullshit apology for shit that he didn't do wrong. So there's a lesson for everybody. Don't apologize for shit you ain't sorry for.
Hey, Jim, on the topic of Cena, have you heard the rumor that he may be coming back for SummerSlam?
Well, apparently now he may be coming back full time. You never know. But yeah, and I think that would be, that might actually draw, for heaven's sake.
The rumor is Cena versus Roman Reigns. That's the rumor.
Well, okay, can you imagine Cena and Paulie with the promos, and they'll have a good match because people will be into it, because obviously that'll be the first. Well, is that the first time back for WWE with crowds, or is that just the next big one?
That's the next big one.
Okay.
I believe they're back with crowds before then. But the other rumor for SummerSlam is that it will be hosted by Cardi B.
Okay. They have a lot of hosts. Cena will draw. I'm not sure Cardi B will draw.
Cardi B is a big star. You know who Cardi B is, right?
I have heard the name Cardi B, and I have seen pictures of Cardi B on Twitter when I was scrolling. And if you held a gun to me, I couldn't tell you what she's ever sung. I assume she's a rapper. Most people with initials in their names these days are rappers.
She is a rapper, yes.
Okay, yeah, I don't know.
She was a stripper here in New York, in Queens, I believe.
Well, that's a positive.
Of course it is. And then she became a rapper, and she's known for being quite outlandish and talking openly about everything. And she had maybe the hit of, what was it, last year? Did you hear the song Wet Ass Pussy?
What?
Did I break you? Hello?
Did you hear the song Wet Ass Pussy?
That was her big song last year with Megan Thee Stallion. They got together.
Who's he?
No, Megan. It's a woman's name.
The Stallion.
The Stallion.
That's a fucking male horse.
You haven't heard this? You haven't heard the song? They had to change it like the...
I was about to... Can they play that on the radio these days?
No, they changed... I think I heard the censored version is Wet and Gushy. Instead of Wet Ass Pussy. Every time they say Wet Ass Pussy, they say Wet and Gushy.
Well, I might lean more towards Wet Ass Pussy than Wet and Gushy, because that could be a mud hole down on Uncle Cletus's farm.
And this was a popular... I'm reading the lyrics now. My God.
What?
Do you want to hear some of these lyrics? There's some things here I can't say, but...
you can't say something on this show?
Put this pussy right in your face. Swipe your nose like a credit card. Hop on top, I want to ride. I do a Kegel while it's inside. Spit in my mouth, look in my eyes. The pussy is wet. Come take a dive.
What the?
And it goes on, and it's just filthier and filthier.
This will be on SummerSlam?
She'll be hosting SummerSlam. I doubt that this will be on SummerSlam. I wish this was on SummerSlam. But she's a big star.
Yeah.
Now all the wrestling fans will pretend they don't know who she is. Just like with Bad Bunny, where no one knew who he was. But she's a legitimate big star. And the rumor is her hosting SummerSlam, Cena return at SummerSlam. Cena more than her in terms of drawing on pay-per-view, but she is a big star. But it's promising, I guess, for SummerSlam prospects.
They might actually get somebody outside the small bubble that's watching these shows these days by having John Cena's return to the ring. I don't know about Cardi B or her gushy mud hole or whatever.
Look, I need a hard hitter. I need a deep stroker. I need a Henny drinker. I need a weed smoker. Not a garden snake. I need a king cobra with a hook in it. Hope it lean over. And then it goes on and on. Your Honor, I'm a freak bitch. Handcuffs, leashes. Switch my wig. Make him feel like he's cheating. Put him on his knees. Give him something to believe in. And it just goes on and on. And the video is her shaking her ass everywhere.
Everywhere. You have taken this program completely into the toilet, into the gutter. You have no morals, no scruples. I'm ashamed of you. You are a fornicator, Mr. Last.
Indeed.
Indeed. Well, speaking of fornicating around, the most fornicatingly stupid thing that I've ever heard from anybody's fornicating mouth came from Cody fornicating Rhodes the other day. Did you see the interview he did about the focus group on that promo, the promo about Anthony Ogogo, the jingoistic, I believe people called it, promo a week or two ago about old Anthony Ogogo?
Well, for the record, let's take things back a step. Cody made his first appearance in a while, did this promo, which instead of being about taking out QT Marshall's top student, became about being proud to be an American and being ready to battle this British mixed race guy over
this British menace.
I mean, it made no sense about what the promo was. And then after that, the follow-up
Well, yeah, we mentioned he's talking about prejudice in America, and he's fixing to have an interracial baby when Atlanta was segregated 60 years ago, and the point of this, so he's going to beat up the black guy.
Yeah. It's so stupid. And Cody, because right away, even hardcore AEW fans started saying, what is this? Like, where was this promo supposed to go, and why did it get here? And Cody defended it by saying that some people have said it was one of the best of modern times, I think was the way he put it. And then the story didn't go away because people were still like, what the hell? Because everyone knows what's wrong, what's going on with Cody. Why has Cody been a non-entity for the longest period of time? And then he does this. And that led into the story you just referenced, where Cody is now, I guess, still defending that promo.
Well,
the process behind it.
This is an article, because it has the quotes in it, from a website called Cage Side Seats. But I got this because it has Cody's quotes on a pro wrestling podcast that he made. The writer says it was a promo that many, this writer included, found to be rambling, and that needlessly and clumsily injected race and politics into the story for no good reason. But Cody had these comments on a podcast. This is probably not going to sound cool, because a lot of wrestlers, especially wrestlers from my dad's era, will lie to you and say, oh, I just came up with that promo right there on the spot, which is bullshit. But whatever. I workshop my promos heavily for weeks on end. We have a full focus group for them, as crazy as that sounds. This is a data-based company, so I workshop everything I do. And because my promos have been held to a really high standard, people pick at them and find things in them, and they put a microscope on them, which I love. When I was thinking about what the story really is, Anthony is living the American dream for real. All the wrestlers like Bruno Sammartino, who I referenced in my interview, who have come over, have lived the American dream. And he talks about, Cody went on to say about how he would be the American dream that night, blah, blah, blah. But the point is, the focus groups, the workshops, it's not bullshit when guys said they cut promos on the spot, because I've seen them do it. I've done it. Did you think about anything that you were going to say beforehand? Most of the time, yes. Sometimes, no. I've seen Dick Murdoch say, hey, Dick, go do a promo, and out, and he does it. I've done the same thing. If you cared about what you were doing, and you had any advanced knowledge that you were going to be doing a promo, then you would think about what you were talking about, but you wouldn't sit there and dwell on the exact verbiage. You would have the story in your head, and you would tell it. The most workshopping I ever did was late at night in the car, if I wasn't driving, or even if I was driving with the Midnight Express, I would be thinking about shit that I could say in general terms about whoever we happen to be working with, and or if I knew a stipulation that was coming up, something that might go along. And every once in a while, if I had a good zinger, I'd hit Bobby or Stan or Dennis with it. Like, hey, what do you think if I said blah, blah, blah? That's the workshop. But he said, and I quote, again, I workshop my promos heavily for weeks on end. He did take acting classes, so I guess he learned that word workshop there. Workshop, it's one of the producers in MLW, Alex Greenfield, used the same terminology because he comes from television. Well, you're workshopping here. I said, no, we're just bullshit. But anyway, he also said they have a full focus group for the promos. It's a data-based company, and he workshops everything he does. And the writer says, and I will second this opinion, what sounds crazy to me, and then in the weeks of workshops and focus groups, nobody said, this doesn't really match up with the story you've been telling, and also it's rambling. Oh, and another thing, it's really going to rub some people the wrong way. So now Cody is doing, who's paying for the focus groups, I wonder? Is it Tony Khan?
No, focus isn't really his thing.
So I do that. Where do you apply to be a part of this focus group?
Well, now, Cody has, since this time, he seemed like, when you read that quote, he's very proud of himself in the moment. He doesn't think there's anything he's saying that's wrong. He's trying to as always, sound like he's more intelligent than reality says that he is. And then once reality slapped him in the face with people going, what is this? This is not pro wrestling. Just this quote offends people more than like The Fiend.
Yes.
Then Cody immediately walked it back.
What? Okay, is there an update?
Hold on. I have a quote here. This is from Cage Side Seats. That's who you just said you got your article from.
Yeah.
Send a check, please, Cage Side. Here is this article from Kane Knight. Talks about the earlier this week thing. Here's a new quote from Cody. I'm going to chalk this up to me not knowing what the term focus group means because I woke up this morning to a very large amount of people in my mentions, almost all of them with a Roman Reigns or a Sasha Banks avatar, making fun of me for using the term focus group. I did not focus group this promo.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Back up. Just hold on, cowboy.
Okay.
Let me go back up to this is a quote from Cody Rhodes on Wrestle Buddies Pro Wrestling Podcast. I workshop my promos heavily for weeks on end. We have a full focus group for them, as crazy as that sounds. So now he just said what?
This is from a press junket for AEW Double or Nothing. I'll read the quote again. I did not focus group this promo. What I intended to say, and I did not say correctly, so chalk this up to me being a dummy. I work on my promos very hard. And a lot of the old-timers who said, oh, I was just doing it on the fly, I would say they worked on theirs very hard. Whether it be in the gym, whether it be in the car, looking in the rear view. So when it comes to my promos, the process is usually I voice memo it out to the people I trust the most, the legends in our industry, some coaches, and some members of management.
Wait a minute. So the voice memo is the thing on your phone where it's like a tape recorder, but you can send it to people, right?
Correct, yeah.
He's actually doing a promo in a tape recorder just for practice and sending it to people?
Dear Dustin, what do you think? Let me know. Yeah, I don't know what he's doing. But let me finish the quote here.
Okay, please finish.
He's sending it to people he trusts the most, the legends in our industry, some coaches and some members of management, to see what they think. But absolutely not. There is no AEW focus group that is listening to my interviews. I would just chalk it up to my passion and love for promo. Boy, he really loves the phrase.
I would chalk it up to his lack of vocabulary, possibly.
How many times
How can you say we have a full focus group when you don't have a focus group? And workshopping my promos heavily for weeks on end sounds a lot more involved than thinking about it in the car. So now he's gone from focus group to I ran it past my brother and Arn.
And it's the third time he's used the term chalk up here in this statement, but I would just chalk it up to my passion and love for promos. I got to see a really great working relationship firsthand between Brian Gewirtz and The Rock. And I know that's an incredibly lofty comparison, but it's one to shoot for, because him being such an exceptional entertainer and promo, so I like to take mine very seriously. I like to be all business about them. I just want to continue to deliver really good content whenever I put the mic to my lips. And that is Cody Rhodes walking back the workshopping and focus grouping. You're all gathered here today. How many of you like professional wrestling? Great. How many of you have heard of AEW? Okay, let me tell you about them since none of you raised your hand. We're going to play an interview today. This may get on the air depending on your reaction or not. It's going to be Cody, who is the son of a wrestling legend, who's feuding with someone who used to be his partner in a gym, and now he's going after his top student, and he's making it about America. Go! Really, no one said. He sent this interview in parts via voice memo to several people, legends, friends, management, several people, and no one said, I think you're overthinking this. Just do a simple promo that you're mad at QT and you're going to kick his top student's ass for you and your family. Instead, it's all this. 3 weeks later, we're still talking about this stupid promo.
But not necessarily in the way that they hoped that we would be. Well, there's a lot of people in the WWE that are out of work and not wrestlers this time. Did you? They fired just suddenly like 60-something people from the WWE office staff and behind the scenes people, office people, announcers. After they finished all the the wrestler firings last week. Did you see the report? Nick Khan, the big Khan, not the simple Khan, but the big Khan. Nick Khan just bought an $8 million, 8,000 square foot mansion in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
He's running a company based in Stamford, Connecticut. He spends $8 million on an 8,000 square foot house in Los Angeles. He can run the whole goddamn company from California, but I had to go to the fucking office when I was doing the third-party bookings?
Well, they didn't say he's living there. They just said it's one of his houses.
What the fuck? 8,000 square feet for a fucking vacation place? $8 million?
I didn't say a vacation place. His West Coast home.
How much space do you need? If I was Eric Bischoff now, I'd be I'd be pissed if I was Eric Bischoff, but if I was Eric Bischoff, I'd be pissed too, because he moved from Wyoming to Connecticut and fucking got canned in 2-3 months and had to fucking turn around and go back to Wyoming. This fucking guy's running the company, firing people right and left, and he's buying $8 million second homes 3,000 miles away from the office. What do you think's going on up there these days?
I think Nick Khan is running the whole show.
Holy shit. And they wiped out some departments. I didn't know any of these people. They didn't have digital media departments when I was in the office because they didn't have digital media when I was in the office. But a lot of them been there for a while. They've been saying they were doing a lot of work on the various new projects they've been told to do over the past couple of years. And all of a sudden, that's it. And the guy they just hired to host Raw that we've never even watched yet since he's been on it. He's been on it for 6 weeks, and now he's done. And he had to tweet and say, well, thanks for the opportunity. Yeah, fuck you. Why is everybody so friendly when they get jacked around?
I don't know. And I just saw that guy. I think his name is Adnan Verk. He's on the MLB channel. He's on the Major League Baseball television channel, even while he was doing WWE. And all I'm thinking is I'm watching him there smiling, interviewing someone. It must be so nice to not have a 75-year-old steroid freak yelling at you in your ear nonstop while you try to do something you've been doing for years, broadcast.
Well, but here's the thing. He'd never done a fucking wrestling match in his life. And that's ridiculous. How many times have they done this now? They hire some announcer from another sport that has never watched wrestling, broadcast wrestling, maybe seen fucking or heard of wrestling, and they put them on their fucking main show for about 6 weeks, and they suck. And even if they're trying to get better, that's a lost cause because it's ridiculous. And then they fucking fire them. And I'm assuming that these people get plenty of fucking money because some guy that's doing Major League Baseball is not going to come over and just say, oh, let me know if I do a good job, or if not, just kick me out. They had to have somebody, so they're paying this guy a fucking fortune. What do you think all those employees think that just got fired when they're hiring people who have never done a job before and putting them on national television at a high rate with basically no experience whatsoever? And then they get a nice severance probably on the way out. And meanwhile, these people are just getting fucking, and the boss is buying $8 million vacation cottages in California.
I don't think it's a vacation cottage. He's from California. I think that WWE under Nick Khan is right now trimming up, and they're getting rid of a lot of people, and they're having record profits, and they are perfectly set up for a sale. And I think that's why Nick Khan's there, to facilitate the sale and put WWE in a really good position. And I think WWE has done a number of things, from the Peacock deal to just different things that they're working on that show that they are looking at things differently now, like they're not going to be family owned in the long term. And I think right now they're being set up for a sale. They're cutting people so that when they go to sell their company, it shows less people on the books. They're trimming up and they have record profits.
And when they do sell this thing, then all the guys are going to have to learn fucking Mandarin Chinese, and they're going to police them when they do their promos in Chinese to make sure that they don't piss China off.
No, when they do sell, they'll all be told that you all have to go home now. You're being replaced by Comcast employees.
Even the wrestlers? Well, they'll be computer generated.
That's right.
Because that way you can make up the gimmick, you can have all the rights, and the guy never gets hurt. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Well, how does New Japan figure into these WWE plans that you're speculating and pontificating on, Brian? Because, Uncle Dave sent everybody into turmoil this last week, said, well, it appears that WWE and New Japan Wrestling are talking about an exclusive working agreement. And then Mike Johnson, a calmer, more rational human being in every way than Uncle Dave, reported they were talking about dates on Daniel Bryan, not a goddamn merger. But people are just speculating about this. The fans, the cons, everybody. Okay, you're a Japanese connoisseur. Would New Japan Pro Wrestling want the WWE coming into Japan, or the WWE talent coming into Japan, or would they want their talent coming over here and being presented in the way the WWE would present them? Or do they want to stay as separate as entities as possible for both of their sakes?
I think New Japan would want access to WWE talent. And I also think New Japan talking with WWE, and, there's a big difference between talking with them about grander projects and just specifically about bookings on one talent. But this is also a good negotiating tactic, I would think, if they're still talking to AEW. Look, you didn't think we would talk to these guys, did you? We're talking to them. But I think New Japan gets talent out of it. WWE, under Nick Khan, again, a different ballgame so far than under Vince completely. I think you get a strategic partner. Now, WWE has a history of burning their strategic partners from the wrestling business. Whether it works out to New Japan's benefit in the long run, I don't know, but I think that's the lay of the land.
Well, what you just said, they have a history of doing this type of thing. In the old Japanese promotional mindset would be, yes, they would want access to the talent that they could bring over, but they would not want WWE promoting events in Japan. And one of the thoughts behind the reticence that they might have dealing with the WWE is because if you bring the WWE guys over and put them in major main event matches, make them attractions for New Japan Pro Wrestling, that just makes them attractions. And then the WWE can come in, as they did in every fucking territory in this country years ago, and use their own guys that New Japan has gotten over against them by running live. That's what I'm talking about, is do they want to open that can of peas, unless the part of the deal in writing was that WWE would not promote their own events in Japan. They would only send talent to New Japan. Otherwise, I think New Japan would be like, fuck, we'll take anybody else because we know that nobody else has the money to fuck with us in our own country, even if they wanted to. And I go back and also think about how Baba felt when WCW, which was a much more serious program at the time than anything is today, still made the Japanese guys look like goofs. Or, any number of times where that's been the case. When they send their guys over here and they're presented like idiots. What were you going to say?
Well, again, it's a different world in Japan today than it was in the 90s. But what I was going to say is I didn't see Mike Johnson's report. So is he saying that this whole WWE New Japan story is strictly just New Japan trying to get dates on Daniel Bryan? Or well, let me just finish though. Or is WWE offering Daniel Bryan? Because the last we heard, he's a free agent. So how does that fit into this?
Well, that's a good question, because Mike's report was basically, he's not saying there isn't any or couldn't be any other discussions going forward, but the crux of the matter and or what instigated this was trying to make sure that there's dates on Daniel Bryan. And I assume even though he's a free agent, what might they be, the WWE be offering him? And if he's talking to New Japan, but he's honest and tells them, but WWE still wants me to sign something, then does New Japan want to commit to a 3-match package with Daniel Bryan that would be spread out over the next 6 months or a year if he's not going to be available for all of that time? So, yes, if a guy's still involved some way, even in discussions, you would want both offices aligning so that nobody got jacked out of anything. Who knows? Maybe Nick Khan, because he isn't from the wrestling business, he would be more trustworthy to deal with than with another wrestling promotion than the WWE has historically ever been. But maybe also because he's from the real business world, he's probably a really polished criminal, because nobody buys $8 million fucking.
He's an agent. He's an agent.
Well, then he's a polished criminal. Nobody buys $8 million fucking houses unless they're crooked.
Well, that's not true. I know people who have $8 million houses, but hold on. Question about Daniel Bryan. It's interesting because we had heard rumors. You remember when we talked about there are rumors that Daniel Bryan wants to go to New Japan. He wants to go to Mexico, may want to wrestle Omega or a top guy. Like, there's been these stories for a while that Daniel Bryan, who cares about wrestling, has desires before his career wraps up.
Right.
What if he told them, they said, hey, we want to re-sign you. I really don't want to do it. I want to wrestle in New Japan. I want to be able to wrestle in Mexico. And now WWE to re-sign him is actually doing the negotiating on his behalf with all these other companies.
That may be possible, at least for Japan. I don't know if they're going to get into the Mexican market, but and that that's entirely understandable and entirely believable. And I think that's more at the root of what's going on here than suddenly everybody freaking out because, New Japan's supposed to be working with AEW and Ring of Honor and Impact and everybody instead of these guys. And obviously, the other con, the smaller con, overreacted highly to this news. Did you see the promo that Tony Khan did with Tony Schiavone?
Well, you're referring to this promo that is just, as we're recording, yesterday went up. Now, we've seen these Tony Khan promos with Tony Schiavone from Impact. Because remember when we said, see, he's an on-air character, people said, no, not on AEW, on Impact. He's an on-air character. He's doing these little commercials. This time it was not on Impact. It was just put out there for everyone for, to me, no good reason. But what did you think?
It was on the AEW Twitter account that they put it out there because it was not on the television program, at least, although with some of the other things they had on this program, I don't know, they could have included this too. It wouldn't have been any worse, but there is, and read the comments on anything that you see. There's Tony Schiavone standing there looking halfway professional and also having about 40 or 50 pounds on old Tony Khan. And Tony Khan's got his arms crossed and he's energetic. Let's say he's very amped up and he sounds like a kid in his basement offended because someone rated his fantasy league of some of its play wrestlers. And he says, I read in the Observer this morning. I mean, I'm just imagining Vince McMahon or even Nick Khan or any responsible grown adult wrestling promoter ever doing this promo. But he read in the Observer that there was New Japan's talking with the WWE. Well, he's the forbidden door. He's had all this. He's responsible for everything. What have you done, WWE, Nick Khan? I just had Yuji Nagata on my TV program, and I reunited the fucking Hassenpfeffer kids or the Katzenjammer kids or whoever he was talking about. I don't fucking know. And rattling off all the things that he's had to do with New Japan. It was me, I did this. It sounded like that fucking Bugs Bunny Daffy Duck cartoon where it belongs to me. Me. It's not yours, it's mine. And he's unhinged. And then proceeded to finish up by calling Nick Khan a con man from Connecticut. If I was these guys and I knew that, okay, Nick Khan, he doesn't know anything about the wrestling business. He hadn't been involved in the wrestling business. He's got no preconceived hatred or notions for anybody. So let's just needle him and piss him off. What fucking morons. They couldn't stand up to one of Nick Khan's farts if he would have fart in their general direction as a wrestling company. And they're going to try to piss this guy off. But it's embarrassing. This guy is supposed to be the boss. And I tweeted this, and I say it here, verbally. It sounded like a kid doing a promo from his basement talking about his wrestling figures. And it's embarrassing that this is the fucking guy that's supposed to be the boss, although he's bossing no one. Which is why this thing is such a shambles, because everybody's doing what they want. But holy Christ. If I was him and I was in love with that New Japan deal, I'd keep my head down. Because Nick Khan, if he wanted to, if this guy's a guy who even bothers to listen to Tony Khan or anybody in AEW and they pissed him off, he could make a deal with New Japan tomorrow if he wanted to. That they would say, shove it and fuck you to every other company in America. So I wouldn't encourage that. I'd just tootle along my merry way if I was Tony Khan. Well, Brian, here's another proud sponsor of whatever it is that we do here on this program, the folks at Magic Spoon. And if you folks out there in podcast land have always wanted to go back to your childhood and eat all that sugar-soaked, carb-filled, junky cereal that tastes so good, well, now you can be an adult about these things and still have your childlike fantasies, because Magic Spoon is the cereal that you loved when you were a kid without all the shit in it. It's healthy. It's 0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, 4 net grams of carbs in each serving, 140 calories a serving, keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, low-carb, and GMO-free, but not taste-free, folks. And you can build your own box. Pick your favorite flavors: cocoa, fruity, frosted, peanut butter, blueberry, and cinnamon. If you mix the cocoa with the peanut butter, it tastes like a peanut butter cup, and that is near and dear to my heart. So anyway, don't make yourself unhealthy, but still treat yourself to an amazing breakfast or a snack any time of the day with Magic Spoon. And if you go to magicspoon.com/Jim, pick your custom bundle, try it out, and use the promo code JIM at checkout to save $5 off your order. Remember, Magic Spoon has the 100% happiness guarantee. If you don't like it for any reason, they will refund your money, no questions asked. Well, maybe they'll ask, where should we send it? Otherwise than that, no questions. Anyway, get your next delicious bowl of guilt-free cereal at magicspoon.com/Jim and use the code JIM to save $5 off. Magic Spoon, they're magic. They're like wizards. They're calling me on the phone now to tell me how great they are. Hey, it's me. I'm telling them how great this shit is right now. Let me do my stuff. All right, thanks. Okay. That was the folks at Magic Spoon. Anyway, eat some today. They're very persnickety when you don't eat enough Magic Spoon. So this past week was the Dark Side of the Ring episode on The Ultimate Warrior that followed the A&E biography on The Ultimate Warrior that we found out A&E deliberately changed their schedule and moved ahead of the Dark Side episode so that they would be the first ones to color public opinion on The Ultimate Warrior. And I don't know that their ploy worked out very well, because theirs was not real positive, and most people knew he was an asshole to begin with, but the Dark Side of the Ring show may have reinforced that somewhat. But I talked to the producers the day of the show, and in hindsight, they were starting to second guess themselves about the episode because they tried to make it as balanced as they could and not just to be a hit piece. They wanted to make it as balanced as possible, but in hindsight, overall, in the end, they felt that they may have taken it too easy on him, all things considered. And that just shows you, people have talked about polarizing figures. This guy was not polarizing. Almost everybody that worked with him or had to deal with him didn't like it, didn't like him. If you notice, and we mentioned this, we brought it up, the A&E biography, everybody, all the talking heads on that program that were positive toward the Ultimate Warrior were podcasters and people who had been 9 years old when he was on top and were fans of his. They couldn't find one of the boys or the promoters to chime in on that. In this case, the Dark Side episode, they did a few, but still, it was predominantly his first wife. I was on there. Everybody knows what I think. Jim Ross, who was on there, who was part of that infamous trip to Phoenix to hear about Destrucity. But before we talk actively about the episode, a couple of things are interesting. Also, when we investigate this further, people have talked about the controversial posts that he made on the internet and the rants that he went on, because he was the conservative, anti-gay, homophobic, right-wing, whatever. Did you know that all of those questionable posts that he actually put up himself on official pages, sites, whatever, have all been deleted? And the way that these things live on now is because of the people who saved them, screenshotted them, saved them, transcribed them, whatever, at the times they were put out, and that's what's kept the stuff out there. But someone has done as thorough a job as they, I guess, can do of trying to take the direct shit that he put up off the internet. But, of course, as we mentioned, it's still out there. I wanted to read a couple of things. Bryan, before we talk about this show, can I read a couple of things?
Please, go ahead.
Hold on, let me, this is, I'm not even going to, well, it's the Vice.com website, as a matter of fact, but this was a piece from 2017, so this is not capitalizing on or even presaging their program they just did, because Dark Side of the Ring was not a series back then. But some of the comments that Warrior made on the internet over the years, on Hurricane Katrina. How could they let this hurricane come here and do this to our lives? These people are expressing sentiments like that. Anyone who expresses sentiments like that is a kook as far as I'm concerned. Those that somehow believe people are directly to blame for the happening of a natural catastrophe don't deserve to be heard. In fact, they should be told to shut the hell up. This makes no sense already. These kinds of people contribute nothing toward repairing things to a better state. Truth is, these people thrive on despair and disarray. Chaos, mentally and physically, and in the way they conduct their lives is nothing new to them. They forge their whole lives in and around it. This hurricane to them was nothing more than like rearranging the furniture. If we could be shown what general conditions they lived in before the hurricane, we would see that they had little respect for what they did have. We would see just how unorganized, unclean, and dysfunctionally they lived. They never gave a care for order, cleanliness, or function before, but now that they can get someone's attention who will possibly take over the responsibility of their life for them, they go on these tirades about how their life has been ruined. Their lives were already in ruin, self-ruin, ruined by the bad choices they made over and over. Beginning with the choice to sit on their ass expecting someone else to hand them a wonderful, beautiful, healthy, and wealthy life. And excuse me for being the one to say so, but if you have a dozen kids and no husband to be a father, there are some holes in your life plan that should be sewed up.
Jesus.
And they say, in case it isn't abundantly clear just who these people were, this article on the demographic makeup of Katrina victims should clear it up. Warrior is referring to, hold on here, let me click on that just to make sure I'm getting it. Yeah, basically the demographics of the people affected by Hurricane Katrina. Warrior is referring to poor, mostly black New Orleanians without cars. Had a lot of sympathy for those hurricane victims. It was like rearranging the furniture, Hurricane Katrina. On the injustice of Martin Luther King Day, he said, Martin marched a few times from Selma, Alabama to Montgomery, Alabama. It's only about 40 miles. He walked along paved roads with security escorts and modern comforts and conveniences.
Oh, my God.
And there was also those people beating him over the head with fucking clubs. But, the paved road was easy to take a bump on. It wasn't like he got gravel burned.
I must admit, I knew some of his insane stuff. Maybe it's been a long time. I did not remember the severity of some of this stuff.
Wait a minute. He goes on. He wrote a few jailhouse letters, plagiarized a great many speeches, and played up his last name King as if he was one. He led his best rally amid the monuments of Washington, D.C. He preached proper righteous behavior while he at the same time committed adultery many publicly verifiable times. Oh, and he had a dream. One to see a race of people freed completely from discriminate oppression. That's not even a phrase, but here was the on his speech on queer studies at a Conservative Alliance event at DePaul University. One guy without his husband and two physically repulsive butch dykes slurping on one another's tongues on the front row had a real hard time cozying up to my principled heterosexual obstinacy. So in an act of pure selfish pleasure, the guy got himself physically thrown out by the masculine security guard, unmistakably loving every single masochistic manhandled moment of it. So apparently he stirred some guy up so bad with what he was saying that the guy had to be thrown out, and he thinks the guy getting thrown out liked it because of the masculine security guard. And the dykes, well, they ran out screaming and yelling like speared wild boars that I was a homophobe for making my remarks. Rumor has it that they decided to exit more because I was not getting stimulated by watching their poorly performed two night crawlers in heat act. The incredible selfless sacrifices the liberal loons will make on behalf of their cause. Oh boy, on the death of actor Heath Ledger, who had played a homosexual character in the film Brokeback Mountain. By today's standard, though, I do have to agree that he was a great father, perhaps even greater than the Father of the Year, Hulk Hogan. After all, Leather Hedger did what it took to kill himself. His kid is without a father, yes, but the negative influence is now removed and his own child has the chance for a full recovery. Because the guy played a gay character in a film. Here's what he said about Bobby Heenan, this miserable piece of shit that I'm glad that I've never said a good thing about in my life, the Ultimate Warrior. He said this, as for you, Booby Heenan, it's just too difficult to keep a straight face talking about the pure two-faced bag of shit you are and have always been. What with you also actually wearing one as a piece of body jewelry. This is when he had the colostomy thing. Or he didn't have a colostomy bag. He's just making this up. You are dying, diseased on the inside, and no more time is left to get back any of the integrity that matters the most on death's bed. Imagine what it will be like, lying there taking your last breaths, knowing you hoard yourself out your whole life, and had to, in your final years, be faced with emptying your own personal shit bag, affirming to you the true value of what you achieved in your life. By the way, the Unleash the Warrior campaign was involved with Susan G. Komen Foundation about cancer. But anyway, yeah, that was some of his various comments. The fucking idiot, after he quit being the worst wrestler in the world and just became a general overall asshole. But did you notice, and by the way, one of the Dark Side producers said one of single of his posts used the word queer 53 times. I said this on last week's program. I'm saying this again. There's some Freudian shit going on with him and his attitudes toward gay people, actually gay men specifically. He apparently had a problem with these lesbians, but he was real shaky on the gay guys. him with his bodybuilding and his fascination with the male anatomy and his doing everything possibly he could do to his body chemically to go from a normal looking 175-pound guy to a 300-pound fucking freak in 2 or 3 years. He has conniption fits at the thought of gay men doing gay things. I'm telling you, there's some deep Freudian shit going on there. But the big reveal, by the way, in the Dark Side program, they showed the news clip from the early 2000s or thereabouts, where he said, my new wife got me into being a conservative. So old Dana is the right-wing lunatic.
Now, on the A&E biography, she blamed his conservative speeches on he just needed something to do, and he started listening to Rush Limbaugh on right-wing radio, and it hooked him, and he decided this was going to be his next gimmick. Not, I was a conservative and I made him come to my way.
Well, who was it that got him started listening to Rush Limbaugh, apparently? From his own lips. From his own lips. My new wife got me into being a conservative. So apparently she's as fucking lunatic and right-wing and racist and bigoted and homophobic and etc. What is it with Republicans and wrestlers that they all go gaga over bitchy, airheaded right-wing blondes? That's the entire female Fox News on-air lineup. It's like a magic spell to them. It's like Republican catnip. Get me a fucking vapid, airheaded, bleached blonde bimbo that says and does stupid right-wing shit and sounds like a bitch most of the time that she's saying it. And Republicans, and apparently now many wrestlers, go crazy over that. Should we call it catnip or cuntnip?
Catnip.
Well, let's call it catnip then for YouTube. But anyway, so this fucking guy, and I gotta hand it to Dana Warrior. And by the way, she's the one they put on the creative team. And apparently they still send her a check. I don't know if she's out there booking any fucking hot finishes. But she said at some point, well, you're the most unpopular wrestler in the history of the business amongst your brethren, and no promoter wants to deal with you, and nobody wants to work with you, and all the wrestlers think you suck and hate you. So, but the fans still love you. So let's make you a right-wing, homophobic, bigoted asshole and make sure they all hate you too. And I would like to also mention that she called the Dark Side of the Ring episode. Somebody asked her, said, are you going to watch it? No, I'm not have any time to watch smut and filth. Well, the Dark Side of the Ring folks have partnered with Pro Wrestling Tees, and this is the first time I've ever plugged them. There is a smut and filth t-shirt now on sale at ProWrestlingTees.com from Dark Side of the Ring, where the proceeds will go to an LGBTQ charity to try to make up for some of the horse shit that the Ultimate Warrior, the Anabolic Warrior, as Uncle Dave used to call him back in the 80s, was spreading from his vitriol. So buy the smut and filth shirt and wear it the next time you know that Dana Warrior's going to the grocery somewhere. But anyway, the only thing I didn't like about the show, well, you can't really tell the story of how fucked up this guy was unless you do what we just did, or you do what I did on some of the program and what, you know, they taped a lot more of. It's just reading the shit that he wrote, whether it was the letters to Vince McMahon, his delusional, psychopathic, egotistical letters where he was a legend in his own mind, was one of Vince's quotes, or the stuff that he wrote on the internet, or the stuff that he said out of his mouth that some colleges were bamboozled into hiring this lunatic to speak when you couldn't even understand what the fuck he was saying. But it really, you can't explain to people what a lunatic he was unless you just sit there and read his own words. Because me, Jim Ross, Bischoff, David Manning, they had a quote from David Manning. You can't really explain what it was like verbally because nobody would understand how universally unpopular and fucking reviled this guy was for everything he did. And he wasn't even being a lunatic back in the 80s politically. He was just a fucking asshole, glory hound, fucking untalented, heavily pushed wrestler. So the program was basically just people giving their insights on this goofball, and nothing we said from last week has changed. Anytime you get somebody that's a talking head that was a fan that was 9 years old when Warrior was big, they love him. Anytime anybody's ever known him, met him, worked with him, or had him work for them, it's ended in acrimony and legal challenges. What did you think, Brian?
Overall, I think the A&E one may have been better. And I think that Dark Side should have stuck with one thing. And what I mean is, it felt like, 40, 45 minutes of it was all about his first marriage. Not just all about his first marriage, but his first wife. And she seemed to know the business pretty well. I mean, just listening to her talk, everyone knows the terms nowadays, but the way she was using them, it was like, wow, she actually knows what she's talking about a little bit here.
She seemed like, and also, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that I saw Missy Hyatt had tweeted that she knew Sherry Tyree from Georgia, because they all lived in Georgia, before she got with the Ultimate Warrior, or Jim Hellwig, the pre-Ultimate Warrior. I bet you that Sherry Tyree was actually a wrestling fan, because you could tell she used terminology. It sounded natural. You could tell when Dana Warrior was speaking that she probably learned everything that she knows about wrestling from listening to her husband talk. And imagine what that might have been. But she was, you can just tell the awkwardness with some terminology, and she wouldn't phrase things that way if she actually knew anything about the business. She came along afterwards.
I was expecting, and I'll get back to what else I was going to say in a moment, but I was expecting, considering the story and what episodes they've done, when Sherry starts talking about him being on the road and him having a day planner with all the women he's with, I expected them to have the Melanie Pillman interview here. What were you doing on the road with the Warrior? That was her. Nothing. I was actually surprised by that. I expected we would see Melanie Pillman here.
I actually, that would, but here's the thing. The A&E show was 2 hours, so take out commercials, and that's a little over an hour and a half. The Dark Side was an hour, take out commercials, it's 45 minutes. But
that's my point. That's my point. The Jake Roberts stuff was completely unnecessary, and it did nothing to add to anything, and it was completely wrong. It was factually untrue. He wasn't getting set up to get a WWF title run against the Warrior in 91. He was getting set up for a feud with the Warrior in the summer of 91 when the Warrior didn't have the belt and Hogan had the belt, but in no time was Jake being set up to have a run against the Warrior when he was the champion. That whole segment, everything Jake said there was completely untrue. And it still got into the documentary.
Not any of the bad stuff that he said about the Warrior. That wasn't untrue. No,
and then he's standing there with a roll of quarters at the Hall of Fame. He's going to knock at the Warrior. No, he wasn't.
Well, no, he wasn't going to do that. Because, but I was assuming it was the Intercontinental title, because I thought that they were going, when Warrior came back at that point, or during that time, he had dropped the WWF belt, but they were going to put that on him, and that was going to be the run with Jake. But no.
Because look, here's the timeline, right? Let's go to the timeline. Let's start with 1989. Jake's in jail for, what was it that time, assault or something. That's when they do the DiBiase thing where they injure him. Warrior's in a feud with the Heenan family. Rick Rude, then Andre the Giant. Then he goes from that into the Hogan program, leading to the match at WrestleMania. After WrestleMania, Jake, by the way, babyface. Jake's still a babyface coming out of that. The Warrior goes right into another Rick Rude feud. By the end of the year, Jake, still a babyface, now blinded by Rick Martel, building up to the blindfold match. Warrior loses the belt to Slaughter because Vince wants to exploit the Persian Gulf War. Warrior goes right into a feud with Randy Savage, who wants to take time off to try to start a family. He's going to retire. Coming out of WrestleMania, It goes into SummerSlam. Hogan and Warrior would sit as the referee against Slaughter and the Sheik and Adnan. But right before SummerSlam, they start doing these little vignettes with Jake, who's still a babyface, trying to like teach the Ultimate Warrior the dark side. That's where that clip of the Warrior with the snake from that thing was. That was right before SummerSlam 91. It was right before the Warrior was fired. Bret Hart wins the Intercontinental title at SummerSlam 91 against Perfect. Warrior wasn't going to be in the hunt for that belt. I don't think he was going to be in the hunt for the world title at that point either. So I don't think Jake has any idea what the fuck he's talking about. Thank you. Off the top of my head, ladies and gentlemen.
That's why you're on the program, off the top of your head from 30 years ago. Fucking hell, that was amazing. Well, so basically what you've said is Jake the Snake told an untrue story. Imagine that.
But that's my point. You know, I think with Darkseid, sometimes they have a really good story and they're running with it, and then all of a sudden, for no good reason, there's a diversion that doesn't actually help the story. And the Jake thing there, the Jake stuff to me was a bit of a diversion. I think they should have just focused on his first marriage, and the whole thing should have just been just about that, because then after you break up the marriage and she's still talking to the Warrior, after she's done talking with him, they basically try to compress, 15 years or so into like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's where you get the revelation about the fact that the new wife was the one feeding him the conservative stuff. But I think it was a little disjointed because of that. The Jake stuff, completely unnecessary.
Well, speaking of Jake, he's going to be heavily featured next week because I've been waiting for this one. I believe I will be on. I was interviewed for it. I have not seen a preview yet, but I believe I'll be on it. But Jake will be on it. And more importantly, it's the whole Grizzly Smith and the Smith family story. And this is one of the, I don't know whether they said one of the better episodes. I don't think they phrased it like that because of the subject matter. It's not actually good. But this is one of the more striking episodes. That'll be, this coming week, this coming Thursday on Vice, Thursday night, 9 o'clock, Grizzly Smith and the Smith family. And it should be interesting. And it has the tie-in that Jake is a big modern day star. This is the farthest back they've gone in wrestling history to start a story, because Grizzly started in the late 50s, but they've probably got some stuff here that you haven't actually heard publicly before, and I know there's a lot of stuff that's going to be said that wasn't known at the time, even back in the 80s. So we'll see how that is received. We will obviously be talking about it next week on the program.
Hey, can I ask you a quick question? Like you said, obviously we'll be talking more about that episode after it airs. Is it weird for you? How does it feel for you? Because nowadays there are so many stories you can't really ignore it, but I don't remember hearing these stories, as a kid, as a wrestling fan years ago. You were in the business. You were around Grizzly. Grizzly in Mid-South was good to you. I mean, you've always had good things to say about him, and you shared funny stories about like when he gets goosed and different things. But these stories are out there, and it's not just Jake. It's his daughter. It's his other son. Other stories.
Well, they're not stories. These things happen. Yeah.
I didn't mean to in any way allege that, but is it weird for you, this guy that when you work there, he was a trusted lieutenant to Bill Watts, he was steady, he was always there, you had a good relationship with him. Is it weird all these years later, someone you had nothing but positives to say about, all these stories are out there and you just can't ignore it anymore?
Yeah, well, and it wasn't at the time. We weren't necessarily ignoring anything. And I mentioned this on the program, whether it makes the cut or not, I don't know. But as soon as I got there, the guys in the locker room, they always made jokes about whoever was in the office, whoever the promoter was, or, whatever. They're not in front of them, but behind their backs, whether it be appearance or the way they acted, or, guys that do imitations of them, or whatever.
It's like an office. I mean, that's what happens in any workspace. Yeah.
But everything that the boys would say when we got there about Grizzly, there was some joke that would center on Grizzly and young girls, or Grizzly and kids, or is he ministering to, or giving a sermon to another one of the young ladies, or I mean, and I thought it was odd But I'm like, well, everybody's got we're visitors here. These guys have been around for longer. You know, everybody's got their own little fucking jokes. But that was the only time I've ever been in the business where I heard about anybody being talked about like that in the locker room. But then, obviously, Grizzly was our supervisor. He was the road agent. Watts wasn't at most of the shows. Grizzly was the office representative, so he was the one determined whether you got fined for being late or not dressing professionally or having a screwy match or doing something wrong, or he was the one that kept track of what everybody did. And the genius thing about it was, and the reason why this was kind of at that point in time, I don't think Grizzly Smith was actively doing any of the things that he will be remembered for after they see this program. He was in his fucking 50s and it's a whole different time. But he knew every rat in every town, every one of the girls and what they were doing and who they were doing it with. And there was actually a legitimate reason for that, because Mid-South was a territory that had more arena rats than almost any other territory I've ever seen, because of the spread out geography of the thing. They ran so many regular markets, so many towns. And all those girls were, and because of the business they were doing, when you got that many people, you're going to have more of everybody, right? But Grizzly knew them all, and he made sure to talk to them all, because then he knew what the boys were doing when they weren't on the fucking building property, when they weren't at the show. He knew what was going on at the hotel, what was going on at the bars. Was he still indulging some of his picadillos by just having the conversations with and being around those girls? I don't know, but it was legitimately part of the thing he did. So there were jokes and snickers and things, and Jake had worked that territory a lot, and I'm sure he was not as forthcoming with things as he has been in the 40 years since then, but in that area, you know, there were rumors and snickers and stories or whatever. But I can honestly say that if anybody had ever just written it down and gone in the locker room and said, okay, here is a list of all the things that Grizzly Smith has done in his life that we're able to prove, that would have been a different story. Then I think a lot of the guys would have thrown their hands up and been like, you know what, fuck, something needs to be done. But those details were, because if I heard jokes, I would have heard details. It wasn't like the guys were shy as long as Grizzly wasn't around, but nobody had details. They just had rumor, supposition, stories, jokes. But you didn't really get a picture of anything like that until decades later, when more people in the family started saying things.
It's pretty crazy. I have a massive Jake Smith file in my collection, and you go through all those photos, and it's just photo after photo that Lil Al Vavasour took of Grizzly smiling with everyone, with his kids, with the referees, with the guy from the athletic commission, with the wrestlers, nonstop. You look at all these photos, and you're like, it's crazy to think what was happening as soon as they left the arena, I guess.
And I mean, dealing with him, it was like dealing with a school teacher, because he never yelled, he never cursed, he never ordered anybody around, but he was 7 feet tall and 380 pounds at that point, probably. He was fucking massive. And he'd look down at his notes or at a card over the top of his glasses, and he'd give everybody the instructions and everything. And you could talk to him and discuss things with him, but you weren't going to win a fucking argument about whether you needed to be fined or not for being late. But he was not an over the top person. He was always very calm. But, and a lot of people have said, wow, how could Watts put up with that? I don't know that Bill Watts knew exactly what the fuck was going on. I would be surprised, honestly, if he did, especially considering the flirtations he's had with religion over the years. That would seem not to sit well with something like that. But I don't know. It'll be an interesting program.
Yes, it will.
Well, thank you for that full-throated validation of that. Real quick, well, let's talk about NXT for a second so we can go from the penthouse to the outhouse. Because, like I said, I didn't even tell you. I was flipping by looking at the schedule, and I saw NXT on Tuesday night. I said, I'll record this and just see what they're doing. Because I mentioned earlier in the program that we had given up on them several months ago when it was just boring. It wasn't good. It wasn't bad. It was just boring. And there was a lot of, mid-card talent, and Gargano was on every show, and I just couldn't take it anymore. But apparently, just blindly, I picked a good one, because this not only had a really good match, but was one of their better efforts top to bottom show-wise that I've seen. And boy, it's really obvious now. They say that the NXT demographic skews older. It's older people. It's wrestling fans who used to watch wrestling, and this is the closest thing now to wrestling that they can find, so they watch this because it doesn't insult their intelligence. It's not silly and fake. And then you see AEW with the fans back in the arena, and goddamn, I bet half that arena has to get carded to buy liquor because they are completely the opposite. They're younger people that apparently like silly, stupid shit. So they're fighting for two audiences, and both the audiences together would make you one decent TV rating, but as it is, they got different audiences. But this show, they have the Thunderdome, but they got a small number of fans around the ring, and the announcers are back in the building now. Beth Phoenix and Stu Barrett, or Wade Barrett to Stu, whatever the fuck his name is this week. Bennett. Stu Bennett. Wade Barrett was Stu Bennett, right? Whatever. Anyway, yes. And Beth Phoenix and all the announcers were together. They did a stand-up at ringside that actually looked like a fucking sports show. It was so refreshing. They billboarded the show. Beth looks great in her role. So that was a plus. And then guess what the first match was? Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart came out in a tank, and I fast-forwarded it. It was against Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez, and between the match and the afterbirth where they laid the baby faces out, that was the first 18 minutes of the show. So we got nowhere to go but up. But they are advertising the main event, which is Finn Balor and Karrion Kross for the title, and that they did a great cold open package and really built the match, and both these guys looked like badasses. So, I just fast-forwarded through the tank tag. The second match was Pete Dunne and Bobby Fish. And they started at 100 miles an hour and were rushing and sloppy for about 30 seconds until Pete Dunne dropped Fish with a forearm, and then they slowed down and the shit looked better, and they ended up having a real good match. Not only very nice wrestling, but they were struggling to get shit instead of just getting it. And Pete Dunne, it was a hard-hitting match. Pete Dunne got a black eye, a mouse under his eye. Somehow, I couldn't even catch how. They were throwing a lot of shots. I've always been a fan of Bobby Fish's. We were trying to get him into Ring of Honor and finally did, 10 years ago or whatever. And he's just, these guys are both in great shape. Dunne is an acquired taste, but he's really good with the right style opponent. He's not much of just a plain worker, brawler, fighter, body language guy, but he's a really good technical worker, and he's strong, and he's got some good. He took a fucking old-fashioned backdrop, a full backdrop out on the floor. Dunne did, because Fish went to the floor and Dunne went out after him, and Fish backdropped him and then grabbed him and tossed him back in the ring. And it was a great looking bump. It was a beautiful bump. But as soon as he threw him back in the ring, Dunne was back on offense. And so he literally threw the bump away, and he took it, and it did damage to him, and then threw it away. But for most of the match, it was good. They went back and forth. And then finally, Dunne hit a pump handle into a face buster. It was a nice looking thing. Boom, 1, 2, 3. But then the afterbirth epidemic is not limited to AEW, Brian, because this program, as soon as Dunn wins, his guy Oney Lorcan jumps on Bobby Fish and did some really phony looking stuff to Fish's arm. So once again, it was a good match, but now counting the girls' match I didn't watch, we've had 2 matches and 2 afterbirths where the baby faces have been left laying. Mercedes Martinez was up next, and I'm a big fan of hers. Every time I've seen her, she's looked good, but she was facing Miss Already in Ring, and the ring announcers didn't even announce the other girl's name. The announcers said her name, but it's a weird one that they've made up that you can't understand unless you see it written. So while I like Mercedes Martinez, but if this is all the fucks that they give about this match or this opponent or whatever, I fast forward it. Have you heard that Cameron Grimes is now a millionaire? Were you aware of this?
That was right after we stopped watching. Remember when everything happened with
GameStop
and
GameStop?
Yeah, he got involved. Well, I don't know how involved he was or wasn't, but that became part of his gimmick.
Well, they had $1 million face-off between Cameron Grimes and Ted DiBiase.
What does that mean? What's $1 million face-off?
$1 million face-off. Well, and apparently Teddy has been coming around, embarrassing and showing Cameron Grimes up and etc. This is not the first confrontation between these two. But they have the entrance and they're in the ring with microphones, and Cameron asked Teddy why that he's shown up there on NXT to embarrass Cameron when Cameron always looked up to him. And Cameron said, "You've showed me, Ted, that with money, I can treat people like shit." And honestly, poor Ted almost lost it at the start because you could tell he lost his point as soon as he started speaking, but he came back and he got back on track. And Ted's story was he was looking for one individual who embodies the $1 million ideals, and he's trying to focus Cameron Grimes on this when suddenly LA Knight's music interrupts. And here comes LA Knight, and he picked up the pace of the promo, but at this point, because Cameron and Ted had been going for a while, we've lost the plot of this thing at this point. Because it's been and Ted DiBiase's southern accent has multiplied tenfold from the 80s until now. Because Ted's from Mississippi, right? Anyway, so LA Knight picked things up, and then Ted started putting LA Knight over real big, and Cameron got upset about that. And Ted was wearing black shoes, but they didn't look like tennis shoes. They looked like black shoes with white wrestling soles, because you could see that white strip a mile away. So anyway, Cameron got upset and told LA Knight to piss off out of there, and LA Knight hit some kind of what the fuck move on Cameron Grimes and left him laying there. And Ted looks down at Cameron and says, "Kid, you're never going to get it, are you?" And starts the laugh. So they're still beating poor old Cameron Grimes. He's entertaining and he's fun and he can work, but he invariably leaves either on his back or on his face, no matter what he's doing.
Problem is, they want everyone there to show that you have a personality and a character. He's too good at it. Because now they just hone in on that and they ignore the fact he's actually good in the ring.
Oh, Cameron will be funny with this. Well, that's not what you want. The next match was Frankie Monet versus Cora Jade. And Frankie Monet used to be Taya Valkyrie, and she's John Morrison's wife, right? And well, no, I'm saying, I'm just saying right as a figure of speech because I know this for a fact. Because I've met her a few years ago. I think she was there. Oh, gosh, was it when I was with Morrison and TNA? But anyway, I've met her a time or two. She's a nice girl. I've never seen her work. She may have had a match on the shows that I was on, but I didn't see it. But anyway, she looks like $1 million fucking dollars. And she came out. They said it was a 35,000 euro robe. It looked like one of Flair's white feathered robes had like fucking chicks. And it was huge. It was huge. So they've got her, Frankie Monet. She's got a cute little puppy dog pet that she does in interviews. She didn't bring it to the ring. She's dressed up in all the flamboyance. She looks like $1 million. Cora Jade didn't get an introduction either. You knew what was going to happen here, but I had to watch Frankie Monet. She's got great heel attitude. She's got great heel body language. She's got facials. This was a squash on Cora Jade, as it should be. Frankie's debut on television. It wasn't too fast. There were no flips. Cora Jade hit a comeback, and Frankie hit a spear, some kind of suplex, and a chicken wing into a face plant. Boom, 1, 2, 3. That's how you introduce somebody. That's how you get them over. So that was excellently done. They had a piece where Walter was addressing Imperium. And because Walter's over in Europe somewhere, they had him on a screen, and they were shooting over the shoulders of Imperium while they were listening to him, and then they'd shoot back at Imperium's faces to get the reactions, and it kind of worked. It was like kind of one of those sci-fi movies where the Mr. Evil is addressing his fucking troops on a video. His point, Walter's point, was that Imperium are professional wrestlers, not showmen. Imagine this. They're going to turn him into a babyface this way, because all the fans will be, thank fucking God. And then he spoke a little German, and the translations and subtitles at the bottom, to us, the mat is sacred. So anyway, anytime we can see Walter, it's a good deal. And they've lost one of the Imperium guys. They turned on him and ixnayed him because they fired him.
Yeah, I was going to say they released one of the guys, didn't they?
Yeah, well, at least they told him to turn on him first before they fired him. I mean, sometimes they used to not do that. They just fire people. In OVW, they did that a couple of times. We just released so-and-so. Well, I ain't got him finished up yet. Well, don't let him wrestle again. If he gets hurt, he can sue us. You motherfuckers. Then call me and tell me you're going to fire the guy so I can finish him up because he's wrestling for me. Oh, God. Anyway. So out next was Bronson Reed, and we are big fans of Bronson Reed. The colossal Bronson Reed. He came out. He's the new North American champion, so thank God they got it off Johnny Sameface. He's wearing a suit. He looked great. I wanted to like this promo so bad. But let me ask you, how do you feel about this? You can tell me either way. Their whole story is that from the time that he started wrestling in Australia until he came here, and finally he's won this championship, it's taken him 14 years. That's the inspirational story. 14 years. What do you think about that, Brian?
That seems like a long time.
This guy would pass for his mid-20s. He doesn't look old. And I guess he started as a teenager legitimately. But they've just told... That's because they have writers instead of people who look at this like a sport. If you've been in pro football or pro basketball for 14 years, are your best days fixed to be behind you if they're not already?
Usually you're an athlete, you peak in your 20s, and when you get in your 30s, it's waiting for the clock to run out.
And we know that wrestling is different because it's more mental than it is physical, and the experience allows you, so wrestlers are better when they're older, because part of it is it's a work. But to say that it took this guy 14 years to win the championship of the developmental program in WWE, they were making it out like it was this huge fucking milestone. No, that doesn't make it sound good to me. It doesn't make him sound like a fucking star to me. But that, and his first words were 14 years to get here. And he talked about all the times that he fell down and got knocked down and doubted himself, but he didn't take no for an answer. That's great, but not for 14 fucking years. If you don't take no for an answer for 14 fucking years, you're an idiot, because somebody's trying to tell you something. But anyway, I love Bronson Reed's work. With his Australian accent, he sounds way too polite. and he doesn't have a lot of bass in it. And also he's, again, the story, I'm so happy to be here, which is what they have all of their guys say, which is why that they all look like a bunch of fucking ballless, dickless putzes. But anyway, this guy, actually, as a heel, as a Crusher Blackwell type heel with a manager, this guy could probably draw a fucking fortune, more so than he would on his own. But nevertheless, he's talking, and here comes Pablo Escobar in the lucha suits. And I wrote, seriously? Fucking hell. I'm thinking, okay, Bronson Reed, he's the North American champion now. We're going to have to say, is he going to face Ciampa? Is he going to face some decent name? No, they're setting him up to go with Escobar and the lucha suits. And they come out wiping their eyes with Kleenex and being all silly and can't relate because he was born a champion. And they even have to do comedy here where Escobar says, I see the North American title, I think of the United States and Mexico. And one of his stooges comes up and says, what about Canada? And he says, Canada doesn't count. Well, he's supposed to be serious with it. I fast-forwarded after that because I don't want to see Bronson Reed against Escobar. I don't want to see fucking heels not taking things seriously. So I like the guy. They gave him an interview, and after his interview, I like him less. By the way, we won't be watching NXT next week, Brian, just so you know. I'll give you the heads up on this because Regal announced next week a triple threat match for the #1 contender at TakeOver, Pete Dunne versus Kyle O'Reilly versus Johnny Gargano. So a three-way and Johnny same face on the same program in the same match. Fuck that. And the main event that we were all waiting for, Finn Balor and Karrion Kross for, oh, goddamn, there's another fucking title. Which is their other title? Yes. Because Bronson Reed was just out here a minute ago with his belt, but now we got to have another title match. Anyway. But this was good. It was obviously with Balor, he's such a professional, but Kross really looked good here. Remember, we saw that match one time with him and Damian Priest, and we wanted to like both guys, but we said, boy, this is a style clash. This worked. Balor's in incredible shape. He's technically perfect, but he fought from underneath and sold like crazy because it was a big man, little man situation, and Kross got long heat on him, but Balor would come from underneath trying to get submissions. He made a nice little comeback to go to the break because they'd had a long set of heat. So they went to the break with him coming back, but then when they came back, he was still selling his ass off and fighting back. At one point, because Balor does the coup de grace, the double foot stomp, his finish is off the top, but he does it from the mat. And as he went for a double stomp, as his feet landed on Kross turned his body and Balor's feet flew out from under him, and Balor landed right in the position where Kross could grab him with a rear naked choke. That was slick. They went almost 20 minutes, and then they went to the floor. Imagine that, doing it like you're supposed to, instead of fighting 5 minutes on the floor and then getting in the ring and starting the match. They went to the floor, and Kross bounced Balor off the barricade and tossed him back in before they were counted out, because they were paying attention to the referee. Then Balor made a big comeback and hit one dive, because they're almost ready to go home. But then as he hit the dive, Kross grabs him and drops him onto the announce desk and tossed him back in. And the one thing I didn't like is as soon as he dropped him back first on the announce desk and then tossed him back in, Balor's up fighting back. But anyway, they went back and forth. They fought hard. And then finally, guess what the finish was, Brian?
I don't know.
What finish does everybody do these days? Kross, the heel, got to babyface in a sleeper and put him out. I've never seen so many babyfaces lose clean to chokes and sleepers as I have on programs over the last few weeks. But it was a great match. I can see why the people who are older, who have seen pro wrestling actually presented properly, appreciate and like this show better. I don't know why that anybody of any age likes stupid, silly, phony shit, but you can see what it is here. It's AEW has kids that have never seen this shit done right. NXT has the last gasp of the wrestling fans who hadn't been run off. And Raw and SmackDown, I think, probably just get a little bit of people who want to see who the stars are and don't really give a fuck either way. And that's what are we doing? SmackDown's not doing 2 million people a week now, from what I hear, right?
I don't think so. And that's on for the next month or so. That's on right before AEW. It's a packed Friday night.
A packed Friday night, but you can shoot deer in the balcony because there's nobody fucking watching. There's more programs than there are fans. Anyway, speaking of programs, before we talk about the Friday night festivities over at All Friends Wrestling, what are you doing on your various programs this week, if you have time after I've taken up and monopolized all your fucking energy?
Another pack week on the Arcadian Vanguard Podcast Network. I don't know how we keep doing it, but more and more content each and every week.
Wait a minute, you sound like Tony Khan now.
I don't know how we keep doing it.
No, I don't know how we keep doing it every week. I'm so great.
Damn it, I tested this promo with a focus group. I've been workshopping it all week with Kippelman and Sharknado, and it's gone off the rails.
Never believe anything Kippelman says.
What I meant to say is, I do not focus group what I say on the air. But anyway, another pack week on the Arcadia Vanguard Podcast Network, and information about all shows on Twitter at Superpodcasts, or on Facebook, facebook.com/Arcadian Vanguard. A few notes. The latest episode of the Mid-South Wrestling Television Review Podcast with myself and Mike Mills is out right now, reviewing a very, very newsworthy episode of Mid-South Wrestling. A new North American champion is crowned. Find out what happens at midsouthpod.com, available wherever you find your favorite podcasts. On the topic of Mid-South Wrestling, I want to bring up the latest edition of Charting the Territories with Al Getz and John Boucher. This is a really, really special edition. Al Getz does unique wrestling research like no one else. He has found results and data that no one else, none of the historians have. And his latest episode of Charting the Territories deals with an amazing story I've never heard before. The fact that the Junkyard Dog, Sylvester Ritter, was expelled from high school for his participation in a walkout due to the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Extraordinary research. Hear this story today at chartingthepodcast.com. Or
wait a minute. You got to get one more thing right. He was expelled because not only of a walkout, but also because he cussed out the principal.
That's right. That's right. But hear it today, Charting the Territory. Search for that wherever you find your favorite podcasts. Of course, John Arezzi's Pro Wrestling Spotlight, Then and Now, where John Arezzi and myself go back and review the original broadcast of Pro Wrestling Spotlight, his landmark wrestling radio show from 30 years ago. We are right now in 1991, a packed episode, a lot of news, a lot of things happening. John, just back from Joel Goodhart's TWA Winter Challenge 2, which opened with Al Perez pinning Stan Lane, managed by Jim Cornette.
I remember that.
But while there, and this is a night you, I'm sure, remember, the Sheik versus Abdullah the Butcher, Cactus
Well, that's
Jack.
what, I'm glad they put us on first, because I was there, Dennis Corluzzo was there, and Frank Chili was there, and we're going out to Ribbit afterwards, but I stayed to watch the show because I wanted to see Sheik and Abdullah.
According to reports on this broadcast from 1991, Stan Lane and Jim Cornette, Monster Pop coming out in Philadelphia to open up the show. But one of the other matches that was legendary in its time on the indie scene, Cactus Jack and Eddie Gilbert, a pretty famous feud.
2 out of 3 matches.
Oh, that wasn't this night. This was just the Falls Count Anywhere.
That's right. They were setting it up.
Well, I have some audio I want to play for you, Jim. And, one of the things people still talk about is Eddie Gilbert as a mind, his booking mind, the things that he wanted to do, what could have been if he had lived. And, of course, we also have heard about the paranoia and his political problems everywhere he went, and he constantly talks about it. It's all on display. He is on this episode of Pro Wrestling Spotlight, Then and Now, where we review the original broadcast But I wanted to play you a little bit of this Eddie interview and get your thoughts. It's going to cut for a second where the tape got turned over, but I'm sure you'll understand what John and Eddie are talking about here. Again, March 1991. We'll talk about this on the other side.
Finally, this promotion, in particular, Tri-State Wrestling, the way the wrestling business is today, a lot of people hope it goes back to the territories the way it used to be. What do you see the future of wrestling being, let's say, the next 3 to 4 years? I know it's in a crucial period. Honestly, as best as you can answer it, where do you see wrestling heading?
I think it's going to be a lot different than what we all expect. And I think, and I'll just be very honest with you, I think that the newsletters, the sheets, whatever everybody wants to call them or whatever, will have a big major factor play into it in the future. I think the wrestling fans will change. I think we're going to have a changeover of fans of what we know as wrestling fans. I think we'll see as the 90s go, wrestling will definitely change and a lot of people will be more up to what we're doing, but we're going to have a lot more respect, I think, from people than what we have. And when we have so many people saying, oh, this guy knows that, and let's protect this and protect that.
I just want to touch on that just before I let you go, is that shows like myself that I do each and every weekend, the Dave Meltzer newsletters, a lot of people say it's hurt the business, but as I had on my program last week when Steiner Brothers win a World Tag Team title 4 days before the team they won it from actually won it,
Well, it's
who exposes the business?
Yeah, that's mostly, it's somebody that's either in a bad mood that says that house went down from the week before, or it's, I'll be very honest with you, it's a guy that's been in the business too long, and I hope that I represent, and I know a lot of people do, the new generation that doesn't see it that way, and I don't see it that way. I don't see how anything has hurt us. Your show, the newsletters go to the wrestling public, love our business, and these people will pay anything to come and see us. And they want to sit around and talk. They don't want to come in and say, badmouth us. They want to help our business.
The crowd was out there tonight watching, and I was there, and I felt more like a fan tonight than I have in many, many years, seeing your match with Cactus Jack that went all over the arena, looking at the cuts at your head. I think the people that are at this particular show, I think there needs to be more of them in wrestling. How do we attract these types of fans back?
I don't know, because you don't find too many people like up in this area. Northeast is such a different group of wrestling fans than anywhere else, especially Philadelphia or New York City, somewhere like that. You're not going to find any more different fans that way anywhere, not in the South, not anywhere else. Actually, to be very honest with you, the fans up here is the only thing that's really kept the hardcore wrestling fans alive.
Yeah,
if it wasn't for this group, and you know the group I'm talking about, just the group of people, from the wrestling magazines, newsletters, shows like yourself, it wouldn't be that bond, that closeness, it wouldn't be anything.
So, Jim, what are your thoughts hearing Eddie's opinion on the future of wrestling and on the smart fan scene in 1991?
Well, I like the way he was beating around the bush. Yeah, up here in New York and Philly, the fans are different. You don't find fans like these anywhere else, because that was the first enclave of smart fans that were coming, that knew what was going on, but came to, see what was going on. But they knew, but a lot of guys just went apeshit over Dave's newsletter and any of the newsletters or any of the radio shows. I didn't freak out about the newsletters too much, because that was a specific audience that had to subscribe, that had to go out of their way to find the Observer or these newsletters. They were generally already people who knew what was going on anyway, who were quote unquote smart to the business. The radio shows, I got to be honest with you, that made me nervous, because you can just be in the car driving down the road and hear that and get information that you might not be equipped to handle. Because that we've talked about this, you and I, before. The early smart fans were more equipped to handle the news that wrestling was a work in some cases than the boys were when they got them into business and smartened them up, because the fans they respected and loved the business and didn't want to do anything to hurt it, and they kayfabed more than that. This was in the 90s, at a time when Vince wasn't kayfabing, and the fucking idiot corporate America, got involved in Atlanta and weren't kayfabing. So the fans at that point, the smart fans, were taking better care of the business, and I think Eddie appreciated it. Eddie knew that the newsletters were, if he could get them on his side, then it was good publicity for him to get a booking job, because that's Eddie always wanted to book. And we've talked about that before. And they ended up in Atlanta when Hurd was listening to Steve Beverly and those guys. That was instrumental in getting guys positions. But what's come along in the 30 years since that was that the radio shows, instead of being on an AM radio station early on a Saturday morning or whatever, imagine now you're bombarded 24 hours a day from every direction with wrestling is phony, wrestling is phony. And that's what's led to what we've got today. So he had some pretty perceptive comments for 1991 and how things were going to change and et cetera, but nobody could have dreamed that everybody in the entire business would just give up and just run their mouth and just blurt out everything. And that here we'd be 30 years later. I was afraid of it. I didn't ever think all the fucking boys in the business and the promoters would do it. But I thought, when enough people get smart to the wrestling business, where are we going to be? It's pointless to do it anymore. And that's pretty much is what happened. Is now 30 years later, everybody knows everything, and it's a television product to appeal to a very small niche audience, as they say. And from we thought it was as almost as bad in the early 90s as it could ever get. We'd kill for that kind of business these days.
Hear more from Eddie Gilbert and so much more. Pro Wrestling Spotlight then and now. Look for it wherever you find your favorite podcasts, or go to pwspod.com to get access to each and every episode. John Arezzi's Pro Wrestling Spotlight then and now. And of course, the 605 Superpodcast, the Mothership! Go through the archive today at 605pod.com. Available wherever you find your favorite podcasts. The 605 Super Podcast.
The Mothership.
The Mothership.
Well, speaking of mothers, there's certainly a few on the program this week for AEW, the special Friday night 10 p.m. airing that you talked me into trying to watch live. I made it till 11:40 live, and then I had to catch up with the last 20 minutes this morning before we recorded this. But apparently, this is where they're going to be also, apparently, while basketball is taking place. Friday night at 10 o'clock.
It sounds like, for the most part, through the end of June, it's going to be a Friday night 10 o'clock show.
Well, I'm going to be grumpy through the month of June. I thought I was going to get some peace and quiet in June.
Well, what are we doing? Have we decided what we're doing? Because we just found out about this. Are we going to be continuing to attempt to do same-day turnaround where we watch Friday night, record Saturday morning, release Saturday night?
What are you asking me on the air here for? Why are we airing our dirty laundry out in public? I don't fucking know. I may not have the goddamn energy. We'll see. There was a couple of things on this program I'm glad I didn't miss, though. They've got the fans back. They had a huge crowd and very few masks. Did you notice that?
I did.
Not for $1 million would I be in the middle of, especially a crowd in Florida. Because if anything stupid happens, the canary in the coal mine is Florida. They are the bellwether of stupid. But anyway, the first match was Darby Allin with Sting against our friend Cesar Romero with a whole group of people. And I had mentioned in the past that old Cesar Bonano, Joseph Bonano, fucking whatever is it?
Not
was
Joseph Bonano. No.
Did he used to be in the mob? I don't know. Anyway, Cesar Bonini, I thought, okay, this guy's tall. He's got a good physique. He's probably one of their Nightmare Factory wrestling school students. He may be okay eventually. And then we found out afterwards, he's the guy, he's been in the WWE developmental program. He's been wrestling for a few years at least. So I don't hold out much hope for this. He's awkward, he's herky-jerky, and I don't see him being a natural at this. Anyway, Darby had his ribs taped up, and he sold in general for a bigger guy, and he's very good at that, and at least Caesar was a heel, and his group are heels. Sting is not used to being a corner man. Have you noticed he just kind of stands there? He has no facials whatsoever. He's just kind of watching the match. He's not used to being in that position. I don't think he knows what to make of it. But anyway, this was a match to get Darby Allin over. He made a comeback, hit a stunner, a drop kick, and a coffin drop. 1, 2, 3. Nothing wrong with that at all. And Caesar wasn't there long enough to really go too far south. But one thing, the replay, when they replayed the pin, Caesar said thank you or appreciate it or whatever as Darby was getting up off the cover. And you could see that in the slow-mo replay, his lips moving. But of course, there has to be an afterbirth. So Darby gets the microphone and calls out Scorpio Sky and the other Page, and they come out but refuse to fight. But then Caesar, the job guy, and his stooges, I think Nemeth was in there, and he's got a couple of others. They jump Darby Allin and Sting from behind and stop them. So the job guys stop the top heels, including the icon Sting, and then Scorpio and the other Page jump in. But before they can do any damage, here comes the Dork Order, and they hit 8 of them and make the save, and the heels powder. So my question was twofold. What do the Dork Order have to do with Darby Allin and Sting? And why are there supposed top heels that are facing Darby Allin and Sting on the pay-per-view in 48 hours running from job guys? And having the job guys do all their goddamn work for them.
That's kind of become the Dark Order's gimmick. They're like the defenders of AEW. Whenever there's anything going on out there, all of a sudden we see 20 guys run out to the ring to chase everyone away. It's happened week after week. We see them run to the ring to chase people more than we see them actually wrestle.
But, I mean, at least they're doing something. You can tell they're taking our critiques to heart because they're doing something about some of the things we talk about, but they don't know how to do things about the things we talk about. So instead of nobody coming out to help while for 5 minutes the baby faces are held down and having body parts sawed off of their fucking frames, this time, now they're just sending people out just constantly. We'll talk about this in a minute, how it could be done, because there's a better example later on in the program. Did you have any thoughts on that whole segment before we move on?
Not really the segment of the match. You summed it up. It was interesting seeing I was about to say the new look, but I guess in a way it's an old look for Daly's Place. With fans there, they moved the hard camera, so it's kind of shooting the side. It's a weird look, but it was a different feeling, a different adjustment to having, not just for the wrestlers, but for watching at home. Hearing actual fans there and seeing actual people there was a bit weird.
Well, and you can see they changed the camera angle because that way you can see more people in the shot, but yet crowds. Ooh. Anyway, they're listening. Guess who came out next, Brian? The former Big Show, the defrocked Big Show, who has lost no more BS. Paul White comes out. That's a great idea. You have a major mainstream star that's been in television, movies, wrestling for 20 years, and he's never seen on your television program. If only someone had come up with the idea that he should come out and do some type of hosting or something. Anyway, of course, it wasn't my idea for him to host a weigh-in. The big weigh-in between Cody and Anthony Ogogo. And Ogogo comes out first. They're buying music left and right, but they can't buy Wake Me Up Before You Go-Go. Anyway. He comes out with QT and Solo and Karamato and somebody in a pink suit. Who was that?
I don't know. There was another guy there who was the scrawniest of the bunch. I've never seen him before.
Because whenever I do the chant, Solo, Ogogo, Akonmarato, there's not and QT, of course, there's not another person. And Pink Suto, I don't know who that was. Did you like how they lowered the flags of the U.S. and England in front of the fans so the fans couldn't see on that side of the ring? What a fucking rip. First time we go to see wrestling live in a year and a half and they drop flags in front of us. Cody came out with a selection of his wrestling school students, his sister, Arn Anderson, Red Velvet, Dustin Rhodes, a roller derby team from Cleveland, 3, fucking hot dog vendors. I mean, he had like 17 people out there with him. So they do the entrances, which take forever. And then Paul White sets up the weigh-in, and Cody strips down to his shorts and gets on the scale. And besides the fact that poor old Show was trying to work the scale backwards, the heels kept pacing back and forth, and they didn't get a digital scale. They've got the old goddamn slide the thing across like in your doctor's office if you went to the doctor in the 70s. And the heels are walking around on the ring, and it bounces the scale, and those things you can't bounce. They have to be on something solid. So he finally, after forever, he works the scale. Cody's 218. And then here comes a go-go, and right then the fireworks start going off outside.
Well, no, they were going off for a little while, but they got louder and louder, and
yeah,
I mean, it was like it was right above the ring. It was so loud.
And then this thing starts. It was moving at a glacial pace to begin with. There were literally fucking Mesozoic and Paleozoic eras that were coming and going during this segment.
And once again, Red Velvet in the place of Brandy Rhodes.
Yes. They might as well just say the part of Brandy will be played tonight. Or remember one time Joan Crawford's daughter, remember Mommy Dearest, the book?
Of course.
Her daughter got the fucking spot on a daytime soap opera, and then she was suddenly hospitalized with something, and Joan Crawford filled in and played this girl's part as this 50-year-old matron. Anyway,
I heard Cody always says no coat hangers.
No wire hangers.
No wire hangers, excuse me.
Now, for anybody who's not familiar with the book Mommy Dearest, do not take that as a pregnancy joke.
Oh, no, that was not my intention. No.
Yes, no, it's no wire hangers. The coat hangers are okay, just no wire hangers. So maybe let's just get off this whole thing. Anyway, QT is standing there in that bowling shirt, crowing about a 1 pound advantage because a go-go clocked in at 219, and I wrote nothing is happening. And then they actually got up and did the spot show thing where they each one get up on the buckle and try to milk the cheers, and they boo a go-go and they cheer Cody, and then they go to the second buckle, and I wrote again, nothing is happening. And then Cody gets on the microphone, says, everybody give it up for Paul White. And then everybody left. That was a 3-minute weigh-in that took 15 minutes. I mean, every match ends in some kind of goddamn schmoz afterbirth heat brawl when they shouldn't, but they do a weigh-in that's actually a fairly natural place for an angle for an upcoming pay-per-view match in 48 hours. And everybody just walks off with no contact. I don't fucking know. And then they went to a long package on football field fuckery, which I zoned out on because it's so silly. But Cody, a go-go, 218, 219, Big Show, any thoughts?
I can't believe it took the Big Show 20 minutes to weigh Cody. That seemed like it took forever. Cody comes out with his Howling Commandos, just this group of people that
Cody's Howling Commando.
It grows each and every time you see all these people come out. Again, Red Velvet, when I say she was in Brandy Rhodes' place, Cody gets in the ring. He has all these like minions on the runway, but in the ring are like Cody's top lieutenants, Dustin and Cody, and I think Cody's sister. I don't know.
Cody's sister.
I don't know what she's doing there, but Cody's sister and Red Velvet. And not Brandy Rhodes. She was there too. What's this weigh-in? Have we had weigh-ins for any other matches in AEW? Maybe we have, and I just don't remember. All of a sudden, this match that popped up out of nowhere with Cody Rhodes wrestling a guy no one ever heard of a few weeks ago, all of a sudden now, this is America versus England. This is all about patriotism, and we have a weigh-in for this big match with Cody going against a rookie wrestler who throws a gut punch. I don't know what they're doing with Cody. I don't know what Cody's doing with Cody. this has all been so poorly done and so badly booked and so poorly booked. And it's just lunacy. Everything with Cody and Anthony Ogogo. I don't know why anyone would care about any of this. No one cares about QT and his people. They're going to care about Cody wrestling this guy. The whole thing was stupid. The weigh-in was stupid. It's just...
Let me defend the concept of a weigh-in.
I'm not against the concept of a weigh-in. I'm against this one.
It's sports-like. It happens in all combat sports. This one was just a rotten one. But they did it because they've seen it done on wrestling. Did you like where they went? Oh, wait a minute. Something's going on. And in the back, Powerhouse Hobbs and Christian Cage are just having a knockdown, drag-out fight. The cameraman is standing there, but for 45 seconds, nobody else knows that this is going on. Just the cameraman standing there shooting it. And then suddenly, referees and people run in, or agents or whatever, run in to try to stop this.
Why doesn't the cameraman ever say anything like, stop?
Stop!
Officials, help! Someone!
Yes. Can somebody call security?
Sting's on the payphone! We don't know who he's calling! Get security back here!
And then, this was, to me, let's face it, Finn Balor and Karrion Kross was the match of the week on either one of these programs, AEW or NXT, and Dunn and Fish was not bad either. But this coming up next was the match of the week for me. This was the goddamn biggest clusterfuck I've ever seen. Adam Page has done something to somebody. He's got heat. Somebody is pissed off at Adam. Somebody has it in for our dear hangman, the old cowboy himself, Adam Page. I don't know why, and I don't know, but I know there's something going on. They've made him a drunk. They've made him a depressed drunk to the point where if he goes missing, they put his picture on the side of a whiskey bottle. They've interspersed him with childish humor in the lowest jobber group where he's driving the dork order around with lawnmowers. This guy that everybody thought was a future AEW champion when they went on the air, you'd hardly ever see him. If you do, it's in something like I'm about to describe, or what I've been talking about, where he's just a fucking morose drunk and unreliable, and or a goofy comedy figure with the jobber crew. But they put him here on television, one-on-one with Jelly Nutella. I thought that they had run Jelly's contract out on YouTube matches so that he couldn't embarrass him on TV anymore. But apparently he's still employed there and they have to use him in some fashion. And he comes out with Sonny Kiss in his corner, and even the announcers were talking about that they just turned Jelly, and people on the internet brought this up also. They turned Jelly on Sonny Kiss on YouTube this past week. But they're still together here. Did you catch that? Did you care? Were you listening to the announcers at that point?
I wasn't paying much attention to the announcers. I missed that part, but it does seem like it's every 5 or 6 months. All of a sudden, Jelly's back on TV and a high-profile match against someone who's going to just clearly beat him, and then he goes back to YouTube for 5 months, and we don't see him. I didn't even realize he was still there, to be honest.
But they forgot to tell Jelly and Paige that this is a match where Paige is against someone who he will clearly beat. Because this was competitive, and actually it was the fight of Adam Page's life. He's been in street fights. He didn't get hurt as bad as this. Since we've seen him, Jelly looks a little bit softer. He must have gotten off the low-carb meth. But, he's so ugly his mother breastfed him through a straw. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
He was put up for adoption by his foster parents. Led a terrible childhood. When he was a child, his parents moved all over the country like 8 or 10 times, but he found them every time. Anyway.
Horrible.
At one point, Paige threw Jelly over the top rope, and he went over like a sack of wet towels, but hung on. And immediately he landed on his feet, and Adam Page goes for a dive, and he moves on the dive. Page lands on his feet, and then Jelly's on the apron and kicked Page right in the mouth. Just potatoed him right in the fucking mouth, where even the announcer went, oh, shit. And after that, they went to a break in what should be a squash match. I wrote at that time, who did Adam Page piss off? I had no idea there was more to come. They come back from the break, and this is competitive. Adam Page, one of their supposed top babyface stars, a guy that at one point people were saying was a future AEW champion, is being taken to the limit by a fucking outlaw mud show goof who can't even hold his fucking... You see, he couldn't hold his tights up. His underwear was showing jellies because his tights don't fit around his fucking muffin top and his flabby ass. So this guy's out there going toe-to-toe with Adam Page. Now Page's mouth is bleeding, probably from the boot to the face. So then there was one spot where Jelly hits the ropes and is charging at Page. Page has just stepped through the ropes, and Page grabs him and picks him up for a spine buster, but Jelly fucked that up, and it looked like he potatoed Page again. Then Jelly ducked something and waist-locked Page and tried to German suplex him, but he just fell backwards and jerked him backwards, and the back of Page's head came within 2 inches of hitting the bottom turnbuckle, so he almost broke Page's fucking neck. And then Page actually laid there and let this fucking amateur Make-A-Wish fuckwit drop an elbow on him off the top rope after these other 2 or 3 potatoes. And I wrote, who are they pushing here? It looked like Jelly was going to win by this point. And then finally, God damn it, Page gives Jelly Nutella a pop-up power bomb. And when Jelly took the bump, his feet were up in the air and his left foot, the heel of his boot, kicked Page right in the head and busted him wide fucking open. And now Page is streaming blood. The star that's going over and fixing to beat this job guy is juiced from the mouth and the head. And it's taken him 15 minutes to fucking control this little weeble. And I wrote, somebody stop the damn match. I was concerned about Page's safety. And finally, he won with the buckshot lariat, which I sincerely hope was as stiff as possible. But Jelly nearly killed this fucking guy selling for him. That's the kind of guy you don't want to get in the ring with, because not only is Jelly, from all of his runs on these well-regarded independents that draw 200 people in a fucking barn in a field somewhere, he's convinced because of what he's been told that he knows what the fuck he's doing, and he's an actual pro wrestler. And that's what I was talking about early in the program. When somebody hurts somebody on purpose, that's one thing, because there's probably something personal behind it. But when you're just a careless, untalented jack-off, and you're just fucking throwing people around or kicking them in the head or whatever the fuck, that's who people don't want to work with. And this guy thinks he knows what the fuck he's doing. So anyway, Page finally wins with the buckshot lariat and grabs the microphone while he's fucking bleeding. And Taz, who's been doing color, no pun intended, gets on the microphone and brings out Brian Cage to say hello to Page, because they're Page and Cage. They're going to have this big match. Page starts talking and says, oh, well, you know, I know that Starks and Hook are going to come out and jump me. And then here they come. And then Taz says, get him. But Page starts shaming Brian Cage. You need these guys? You can't do it man to man? While Page is fucking bleeding all over the place and he's had the shit kicked out of him. He dares Brian Cage to leave his heel compadres out of this and just be man to man. And Cage says he doesn't need them. And he leaves. Every time they have a schmoz where they don't need a schmoz, it's ridiculous. But then to do every time that there should be physicality, they all just walk off. And every time that they all should just walk off, there's 16 people getting a shit kicked out of them. But more importantly, what did Adam Page, Brian, do to deserve this ass whipping that he took from this little fucking jelly blob on goddamn national television. What the fuck? Have you ever seen anything like this?
I couldn't believe that it went long, or as long as it did. Like you said, I thought, all right, they're going to give him a quick win and then they'll do an angle with Taz or something, because that's all Taz ever does. Like, the Dark Order always runs out. Taz is always on a microphone, ready to say something to the babyface that just won a match. You know, when he got busted open in the mouth, I missed that when it first happened. But then by the end of the match, when he went over the rope to do the buckshot, which looked pretty stiff to me, the blood just starts dripping down his face. And I'm like, wow, I missed something. And I could tell right away, he didn't blade. You're not blading for this match.
No, this was definitely, this was not any fucking gaga. This was, if anybody wants to go back and watch the video, when Paige hits the pop-up powerbomb on Jelly, and Jelly lands on his back, his fucking feet are right up on either side of Paige's face, and his left boot heel kicks Paige right in the top of the head, and boom, and you see him sell it for a second, and he immediately jumps out to do the buckshot, and by the time he turns around to the camera, here comes the fucking blood. This guy is a walking clusterfuck, Jelly. Whatever he touches turns to shit or hurts, one or the other. But yeah, if Brian Cage, this fucking, I mean, he can't work, but standing there, you wouldn't know that. He looks like a fucking jacked up beast. If Adam Page came out of this match with a goddamn pale, fishy white, no body, tubby, fucking satchel-assed pinhead like Jelly Nutella, bleeding from every fucking orifice of his body, what the fuck is Brian Cage going to do to him? Anyway.
And how about this Brian Cage babyface turn they've been teasing for months now? Oh, boy.
Oh, boy, if he'd ever had a lick of fucking heat as a goddamn heel, it might work. But since nobody's given a shit either way, and he hasn't helped him any, it's probably going to be a lateral move, Brian, in my opinion. Did you like when they started the promo with Eddie Kingston and John Moxley out in the backyard trying to bury the Cucamonga Kid's tennis shoes, and they just went to commercial?
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
15 seconds of the promo and then black. I thought Sting was coming. The blackout, but no, the commercial was coming. And then they come back on the other side of the commercial and start the promo over again. And again, it was a good promo. Both these guys can talk. Of course, most of the promo, especially the first part, was done by Nick Cage's balding plumber fan club president. But then Kingston picked it up a little bit, and they stole the Cucamonga Kid's tennis shoes. That's great. And then here comes Tony Schiavone in the ring. And I think he was going to introduce our little dog Pockets, but Pac instead came in the ring and kicked Tony out. So they actually go to the trouble of having it look normal and proper on your television program for one of the announcers to interview one of your athletes. He's in there in the ring and fucking Pac kicks him out because none of these guys know how to be interviewed. So then it became him, just some other fucking wrestler standing in the ring, taking over the show, cutting a promo. And he was talking about Pockets. So I went to take a piss because I was watching it live and I could not fast forward. But this is obviously unimportant because Pockets is involved. So I went to take a piss. When I came back, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson were beating the shit out of Pac, who I thought was a heel because he's the bastard and his partners are the Lucha Brothers. But now these heels are beating the shit out of him. Twinkle Toes is out there for some reason. And here comes out of the tube to make the save the Best Friends and Pockets. And when I saw this, I didn't still have to piss, but I went back to the bathroom to try. So I don't really know what this whole thing was about or what happened. Did you even pay any attention or did you care? Because did we mention it's about Pockets?
Yeah, I mean, Pac did a good promo. And then it turned into Omega coming out and the Good Brothers coming out who are just worthless. And then Orange Cassidy and his friends coming out. I'm not a big Orange Cassidy fan, naturally. I'm not as big an Omega fan as some are. I don't hate him the way you do. But I can't imagine why anyone would be excited about this random three-way match that they've been building up for the last few weeks.
Well, how did this end up? What was the go-home point? Well, how did this conclude? What was the point that was hammered home to make this a must-see match?
If there was one, I completely forgot, but three-way match at Double or Nothing.
The most protected title in wrestling, according to our friend Mr. Jerichovid. It's the most protected title in wrestling, and they have an actual, literal, one-joke wrestler competing for it on pay-per-view. So that's protecting it, all right. Okay, that's good to know. All those times that we were missing out on those pay-per-view matches where we could have had Stone Cold Steve Austin defend the WWF Championship against Taka Michinoku, whatever the fuck. Anyway, no, I shouldn't insult Taka. He was a good kid and a good worker. He was not anything like Pockets. I know what part you liked coming up next. Tony Schiavone in the back. He gets around a lot. He's at the desk. He's in the ring. He's in the back. Interviewing Jane Cargill. But unfortunately, before any hilarity ensued, Matt Hardy interrupted and pitched himself again to be the manager, but Mark Sterling, the attorney, comes in, and he's her new manager. So this has now happened off camera, right? Over the last couple of times, we've seen him trying to pitch the idea to her to let him represent her, and now it's a done deal. Did we see when it actually became a done deal, or that wasn't necessary to include it?
It wasn't shown to us. Remember, Jade wanted a manager, or at least said she was open to talking to managers, and then would do these promos acting like she didn't need a manager because, as she constantly says, she's that bitch, whatever that means. But then, to the surprise of Matt Hardy and Vicky Guerrero, she chose Mark Sterling. Now, this guy, he was MJF's attorney in character for what? Was that the Cody feud? I'm trying to remember where.
That was...
and then he wrestled Cody, right? Or
he wrestled Cody, and Cody embarrassed him or beat him up or whatever the fuck. He was MJF's lawyer for 3 weeks. And then he hadn't been seen for 6 months. And now he comes back and picks up like he's been there all along and everybody should know who he is. And he outmaneuvers all the other managers, including Vicky Guerrero, who we haven't seen in months, and Matt Hardy, who we can't get rid of. And of course, they never showed Jake or Arn even wanting to manage Jane. So anyway, Mark Sterling gave Matt his card, and Matt threw, as I mentioned before in the program, the Mr. Backlund fit. So anyway, and then we go to the match. Jane Cargill and Kylin King. And I was waiting. They do about 2 or 3 moves, and they go to a commercial. And we were past 11 o'clock by this point, and we came back from commercial. I'm not saying I was asleep. I'm not saying I wasn't. But I was zoned out, and Jane Cargill won with the chicken wing thing, right? Did anything funny happen that I missed?
No.
So it wasn't really a good Jane Cargill match or segment because nothing funny happened.
Well, to look on the bright side, it was certainly a segment that did not require a commercial break.
Well, but it got one.
Like, that's the thing. Nitro had tons of matches. Big stars, guys that you didn't know yet. They introduced a lot of people, brought in a lot of luchadors and Japanese wrestlers. Lots of stuff. Lots of action. You may get a bad match with some old WWF guy on the show, but you got a lot of good stuff. But everything was short. Doesn't always have to be that way, but I can't remember too many matches with Ciclope going past a commercial break, or with fucking El Dandy. But every match in AEW, the Janela match, this match, every match goes to a commercial break when you can get more stuff on the show that matters. And it's so stupid.
Well, and these matches are long in a lot of cases. I mean, some of the squash matches aren't, obviously, but most of the matches go too long. But even if you have long matches, you do not have to go to a break in the middle of every single one of them. Especially in a match where you've got a Kylin King or a fucking, Miss Already in ring, first name Already, last name in ring, or some guy that is some schlub or whatever. You don't want to go to a break. When we would format Raws, Vince would go crazy over that, said, no, do it some other way. Don't go to a break in the middle of a match unless there are name talents involved, because then the people have an emotional connection and they might hang on. And that's the idea for doing a break spot, something of a higher level of excitement happens. Oh my gosh, so-and-so's in jeopardy. So-and-so's on the attack. This match will continue, whatever. But now they just do a dive and everybody lays around on the floor immobile because they've lost the plot on that too. And then they go to a break. But no, you can have your entrances and introductions and then go to a break with saying this match begins right after this. Okay, we've seen these people come to the ring. They're getting ready to fight. Okay. And then when you come back, you can have 7-8 minutes uninterrupted. Anyway, here's another thing they've been listening to. Well, a couple more things in this segment. The TV title match, good old Miro. I can't even mock him anymore now that he's Miro. It just took him a year to figure it out, but Miro defended against poor old Dante Martin. And apparently they've fed him to the wolves because is his partner injured now? Because it's his
brother, I think, and yeah, he's injured.
His brother is also his partner.
He's injured.
He's injured, so instead of saying, okay, we've got plans for this tag team, but we'll keep this guy looking okay or put him on YouTube or whatever, they just feed him to the fucking wolves because nobody's going to remember by the time that the partner comes back anyway, except for any fan with a brain. But I still can't believe that it took him this long to figure out how to present good old Bluto. He's a heel. He looks good. He's intense. He's serious. He kicked the shit out of the guy. He sold very little. He gave Dante a comeback flurry and then stopped him with a big suplex and a kick and camel clutch. And boom, that's it. Tap out. That's the way to get this guy over. That's the way to present this guy. That's what we've been saying for the last year. What the fuck is the matter with these people? Why is he associating with a goddamn, fucking high school play cast and doing weddings and video game matches with... I can't believe that this guy can do this. And they wasted, 6 months, a year, however long it was, with him and his little friend Pip and their virginal girlfriend Penelope fighting over fucking phony video games with goddamn mid-card guys like the Butt Buddies or the Best Friends or whatever their fucking names are. This guy looks more like a star than anybody they got on the program. Now, we'll see whether he can have a competitive match and still be a beast. That'll be interesting to find out. But anyway, what this wouldn't be without, or what this wouldn't be without, don't you? An afterbirth. So he beats the guy, and then here comes Jake and Archer. And now they're just baby faces. And Jake cuts promo on Miro, and Miro tries to answer, but his microphone's not turned on. So then, all of a sudden, Miro's the heel. He's just kicked the shit out of a baby face. Then Jake and Archer, who used to be heels, and the only reason they really turned was because they just got sideways with old Miro here. But they're fucking cutting a promo on each other, and then Miro turns babyface and says, come on, in here, in right now. He's not supposed to say that, because he doesn't want Lance Archer right now. He's a heel. But he says, come on, and then Archer hits, and they get in a fight, and Archer gets the best of it, and he kicks Miro off to the floor, and as soon as Miro's trying to get back in the ring, they've got 6 or 7 referees there to hold him back. They're listening. If maybe they've been listening all along, but somebody just finally got it through to them. But how many times over the last 2 years on all these programs, AEW, NXT, anything the WWE does, there is no consistency, no standard. Some guy is getting the shit kicked out of him by a group of heels, and they're bashing him with sledgehammers, and they're hitting him with fucking pole axes and running over him with goddamn vehicles, and there's not a soul coming out. There's nobody doing nothing, nobody ringing a bell. The announcers are going, oh, this is horrible. And some people are going, well, it's an empty arena. Motherfucker, there may not be any fans, but we don't encourage them to make the fucking save anyway. We know there's wrestlers in the locker room, there's referees, there's officials. The camera people can shoot all this stuff. As you said earlier, what about some cameraman saying, hey, wait a minute, he's going to kill that guy, I'm the only one around. But it's either 5 minutes of slow-moving destruction with no one trying to stop anybody, or if it fits the fucking specific angle they're doing, as soon as one guy gives a guy the fucking finger on the chest like, you listen to me, there's 18 fucking referees to get in between them. Have you noticed that? No consistency, and it's just whatever works for the feeble mind of the booker of the year at that point in time. Here is how you choreograph, or you lay out, or you manipulate a situation like that to get jeopardy and urgency and a sense of chaos over. If a match is coming to an end and the goddamn boom, 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 and the heel's kicking the shit out of the babyface, but suddenly the babyface blows a big comeback and maybe hits him with one false finish or two false finishes, and the heel is rocking and he's on his heels and he's backpedaling, and suddenly maybe he does something, gets a cheap shot, and fucking hooks the goddamn babyface's legs. And as he's going for the top spread cover, the referee goes to count 1, and the heel puts his feet on the ropes 2. But the referee sees it. No, he won't count 3. The heel gets up. What the fuck? He's looking at the referee. The babyface has the goddamn opportunity. The heel turns around, but the babyface double legs him and top spreads him and does the same thing. Feet on the ropes. 1, 2, 3. The referee doesn't see that. He calls for the bell. The babyface has been beat the shit out of, but he's got his hand up in the air and he's still selling because he outsmarted the heel. But the heel's pissed, and he fucking turns around and he starts kicking the shit out of the babyface again. And the referee tries to stop him, so he grabs the babyface or grabs the referee and either shoves him down or throws him out of the ring and goes back to kicking the shit out of the babyface. Now the timekeeper, the guy on the bell, he needs to start ringing the bell again. Ding, 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 ding. You know why? Because it adds to the sense of urgency that the viewer is feeling. The timekeeper can say, I was ringing the bell because I'm the timekeeper, and when you ring the bell, they're supposed to quit fighting, and they were fighting, and I didn't know what else to do. And that's all, that covers it. Because nobody's going to ask, because it's part of the atmosphere. You hear that bell ringing, ding, 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 ding. The heel's putting the boots to the babyface. Here comes some more referees. Now there's 2 or 3 or 4 of them out there, and he's shoving them, and he's fucking chucking one out of the way. Here comes a babyface. The babyface comes in, the people cheer, the babyface starts making a save, kicking the shit out of the fucking heel, shoots him off, gives him a fucking backdrop. Ha-ha, the heel's begging off, but there's another heel. The heel's partner or his manager or his friend comes in and lays that babyface out. And now there are 2 of them getting heat on 2 babyfaces. Here comes some underneath babyfaces to try to fuck, but they're playing King of the Hill with them, and they can't get in. And the bell is ringing some more. And then here's some agents coming out, some officials. You stagger the run-ins. You stagger the people coming out. When 18 people come out in a clump, it's obviously rigged. Either that or they were all just standing there minding their own business, and somebody said, hey, somebody needs you, and 18 people run out at the same time. You stagger this. You keep the bell going. You keep the motion going. You create a situation where the baby faces are in jeopardy, where there's a sense of urgency. Because the fans at home, the viewers, the people in the arena, the people on TV, they're sitting there, look, all these people are trying to help. Oh, shit. But nobody can stop it. It's chaos. It's urgency. It's jeopardy. It's danger. And all these things with your extras. If this was TV, movies, they would be called extras. That's the extra personnel that you've got to create this scene. You're concentrating on the two top baby faces and the two top heels that you have in the ring. The heel who is lost and his friend are doing damage to the guy that won and his friend. And a lot of people are trying to stop it because it's dangerous. And the bell is ringing because it adds to the to the audio, to the whole picture where people are running around frantic, screaming, yelling, getting thrown around. Damage is being done. Somebody's going to get hurt. And it has to keep moving. It can't be out there for 5 fucking minutes. You do what you're doing, and then finally, somehow you get out of it. Whether it's the numbers just overtake the fucking heels and they take off having done their damage, or finally they just see that everything they've wanted, they've gotten, and they put their hands up and they luxuriate in the booze, and the referees and the minions go to check on the downed baby faces. But it can't just go at a snail's pace forever with nobody trying to stop anything that's going on, or it's just a phony presentation being shown to you and you have no emotional attachment because you're not seeing anyone else get upset. You're not seeing people around trying to stop this heinous act, which in your mind then the subliminal impression is, well, they're just doing this. Nobody else is upset. These people don't have any friends. There's no security involved in this. It's just a show. When you do run-ins and you do angles, the fucking lowest level referee or wrestling school stooge or whatever that you can run out there, everybody has a part to play and everybody contributes to the big picture and to the feeling that you're supposed to be left with. If there's no jeopardy, no urgency, no danger, you got no heat and nobody gives a fuck. You're just doing shit and people are sitting there watching. Does that make any sense?
I think so. It makes lots of sense.
I used to have to do this for the fucking amateur class in wrestling school. Now I've got to do it for people on national television. Tony Schiavone was in the ring and brought out Hikaru Shida. And I did not have to piss, so I went to the kitchen to get a piece of cake. Did I miss anything?
Apparently, yeah. Britt Baker came out and did a promo saying that she is going to win the title from Hikaru Shida. Shida was presented with a new belt. I'm not exactly sure why. They didn't really explain why other than she held the belt for a year. So here's a new belt. I guess you get to keep the old one.
I can tell you what, because somebody stooged it on the fucking internet. This girl is a mark, just like the rest of the people working there, and just like the fucking Japanese schoolgirl fetishist booker that books the Japanese women in the women's division. And they kept the belt on her because it was her dream to wrestle in America in front of a full building with fans. And because it's been the pandemic, she couldn't do that. So now that she's actually had the opportunity to appear in front of fans and it gets to wrestle Sunday night on the pay-per-view, hopefully they'll put the thing on Britt Baker so they could actually start a women's division that meant anything. But they're giving her here's your souvenir belt. It's like a participation trophy. And the fans get to see you before you lose it. The people in AEW on the roster in the ring believe that wrestling is more real than the fucking marks in the 60s in Mississippi used to.
Apparently, another story came out of this. I have a story here from The Observer.
Oh God. Let's see what he has to say.
By Josh Nason from The Observer website, to be more specific.
Okay, so it's not exactly Uncle Dave.
AEW Spanish language announcer Willie Urbina has been fired. Followed his mocking of Hikaru Shida's accent during Friday's live Dynamite, caught on a live mic. The audio could be heard during a commercial break on Fight TV's broadcast for international viewers, prior to the segment celebrating the AEW Women's Champion's one-year reign as title holder. Urbina, Alex Abrahantes, Thunder Rosa, and Dasha Kurit's mics were left on during the break when Abrahantes instructed Urbina to, quote, do Sheeta, as in translate her promo. Urbina then twice did a stereotypical imitation of an Asian accent, followed by Rosa and Cornette jokingly telling Urbina, a former Spanish language announcer in TNA, to stop. The clip gained steam overnight thanks to a tweeted clip of the audio directed at Tony Khan and AEW, and no one else has commented, but Urbina has been fired.
So, well, but I wouldn't have seen all that on the interview anyway, so I didn't miss anything.
No, you didn't.
So basically, he was fired for doing a stereotypical Japanese accent on their television program, and Asuka has a job on the other program because she does a stereotypical Japanese accent.
You could look at it that way, I guess.
I just did. All righty then. The next match, oh damn it, this was a fucking real pip too. Dork Order of Pizzeria Uno and Stu Grayson, they're back. The original two, the patient zeros of this whole Dork Order thing. The fat guy in the leather and mask, and Stu Grayson that looks like a dropout from a college film project of, the fucking shaman from the Capitol with the fucking bear horns and the face paint and everything. They haven't been on TV in months as a tag team. They just sit in the group with the rest of the Dork Order. Uno was supposed to be the boss at one point of this thing. Thank God they got another boss so he could quit doing promos. But they took on Scorpio Sky and the other Page. And now that the Dork Order are full-fledged babyfaces, but they still come out with 8 other guys. So the babyface jobber team has 8 people at ringside with them, and the heels are all out there by themselves. It's good to see that Uno on his time off of television has not been in a wrestling school or a weight loss center. Tell the truth, are they the 2 most ridiculous looking baby faces that you've ever seen? A guy in a full body suit made out of pleather with shark teeth on his mask, and this other fucking guy that looks nothing like, there's no continuity to this team, and they never win, and they shouldn't win, and they're baby faces. It's ridiculous visually, is it not?
Is it as ridiculous as a babyface team consisting of a mute who sticks his hands in his pockets and does shin kicks with his 2 friends, one of which is unathletic, looks like shit, and isn't very good in the ring, the other one who looks like an athlete, and their alien girlfriend? That's another one of the babyface combos in AEW.
You got me there. And honestly, and we got to do this as a project. And I said I'm going to do this too. We're going to pick my current modern wrestling roster from all the companies. Now that I've got the figures orders settled, I've got time to do some research on an upcoming show in the next few weeks. We're going to pick my roster. But this talent roster is positioned worse overall than any wrestling company that I've ever seen. Almost nobody is in the right place that they should be. Heels are baby faces are heels, top guys are on the bottom guys are on the top. The combinations are fucking rotten. This is the worst talent positioning I've ever seen in a wrestling promotion. And they had another break in this when I zoned out during the break and kind of nodded off. But, I went back and I think 20 minutes till or whatever, I went back and watched the last 20 minutes of this show this morning. But this was a regular style indie-rific tag team match where they did a ton of moves and some contrived synchronized bullshit. At one point, the other Page tries to kick Pizzeria Uno. Uno grabs his foot and hands it to the referee to hold so that he can do a move to the guy. And nobody got fired over that. They get fired over fucking bad accents at a goddamn commercial break. But obvious fucking bullshit fake wrestling, they don't get fired. Scorpio Sky is a talent. The rest of these guys should be doing quick jobs. And I know some people will say, well, the other Page, he looks like an athlete, but he's the guy that wrestled himself on a TNA pay-per-view and fucking won the match by ripping his own heart out so he can go fuck himself. He's another one of these phony fucking play wrestlers that can't take his business seriously, and he's the shits. So basically, in the bottom line on this thing, Scorpio Sky and the other Page, the heel team that's going to face Darby Allin and Sting on pay-per-view in 48 hours, were just barely able to beat the worst tag team in the company, if you don't include Jelly Nutella and Sonny Kiss, in this match. And Afterbirth. Afterbirth. How can we forget about the Afterbirth? Darby Allin comes out with 8 masked Stings. 8 guys wearing Sting masks. And one of them, he looked like somebody's grandfather, somebody's hippie grandfather. He had long gray hair. Did they just grab a technician? And then they tried to throw him over the top rope. He didn't know how to go. But they start fighting the fake Stings. But one of them is the real one. And he takes 2 punches and doesn't sell them. And then takes his mask off and the heels run away. So way to heat this thing up for the pay-per-view. Your heel team takes a long time to barely defeat just the dregs of your roster. Then a 62-year-old man who's supposed to be a babyface icon gets in the ring, but the heels punch him and he doesn't sell it at all. And then once they see it's him, they run away. Good God. Watch when they have the match on Sunday, they'll kick the shit out of Sting and Darby Allin. Because that's the only way they can do things completely backwards. On the pay-per-view, the heels will finally get even. Holy Christ. I mean, did you see anything I didn't see there?
You know, I made it through the entire show. This was the match where I was like, I could take a break now. Because like you, I was watching it live. Well, you actually didn't. You watched the last 20 minutes.
I tried.
I didn't want to do that, though. I didn't want to have to wake up today and watch it this morning. So I watched it last night live with a couple of breaks. This was a break match. Dark Order for me, immediate break match. I'm not as negative on Ethan Page as you, and I understand exactly why you are, and I'm not saying you're wrong. But in the little bits I've seen of him in AEW, I've liked what I've seen. He exudes a good heel personality. Whatever happens in Impact, it's like Vegas. Whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Whatever happens in Impact, I don't fucking care. Because it's not wrestling. It's barely on television.
It's the Federal Witness Protection Program, so at least most people know it.
But I understand why you feel that way, and I'm not crazy about Scorpio Sky just all of a sudden being a heel.
He's just another one of these goofs that wants to do fucking creative, funny shit instead of learning how to fucking be a wrestler. And I just don't have any time for that, and I don't care whether he busts into fucking spontaneous combustion or not. So how's that? Well, it's almost time for our main event, which is not a match. Thank God at this point on this program. They announced, how did they phrase it? A celebration?
Celebration.
A celebration of the inner circle. It looked more like a dinner circle jerk. Eric Bischoff hosts the celebration of the inner circle. Do they fly him in from Wyoming for this? And does he do it on purpose? This is
like his 5th appearance on AEW where he just shows up and it's not a surprise anymore.
Well, no, they announced it ahead of time even. Eric Bischoff will host the celebration of the inner circle. But he is a 60-plus-year-old senior citizen during a pandemic flying across the country to stand there and do a partial promo and then stand back in the corner and watch this shit? I hope they're not paying him by the word, because it'd really be a bad trip for him, because he barely got it. But what can they be paying him? Okay, Tony Khan is a WCW mark. So that means, is he giving him $5,000? Why would you pay even Eric Bischoff more than that? That's twice as much as he might make on a goddamn, fan fest or whatever. Why would you want to get on a plane in Wyoming and fly all the way across the country to do a minute stand-up before a fucking bad angle and then just turn around and go back home? And for, like I said, even for $5,000, what the fuck? Why is that even worth it?
Worth it to him or to them?
Either.
It's worth it to him because he needs the money.
Goddamn, if it's come to the point in your life where you're in your 60s and you need to fly from Wyoming all the way to Florida and back in the middle of a fucking pandemic or not to do a minute stand-up on a fucking bad wrestling program that 1 million people aren't even going to see, I'm sorry he needs the money that bad. But I don't know that he got $5,000. I don't know that he got that much. I can't see why that job would be any more well paid, even though Tony Khan, as I mentioned, is a WCW mark. Anyway, Jericho was thrilled that he's got new backup singers besides the Jobber crew that get paid to do it. And he and Eric, verbally blew each other for a couple minutes. And Bischoff introduced the Inner Circle highlight package, which was what it was. Santana was there and actually got to speak. Sammy got to speak. Jericho compared him to Guns N' Roses in 1987. He looks more like Axl Rose does in 2021 than the Inner Circle looks like Guns N' Roses in 1987. Jericho said he loved them, and they all hugged each other. And then it happened. Bryan, how long has it been since our favorite crime has been committed on wrestling television? 2 weeks? Have we gone 2 weeks without a kidnapping?
I actually think it's been a little bit longer than that because we've said, what's happened to all the kidnappings? Did they get a new cop? Is there a new patrol in Jacksonville? What has happened where from multiple kidnappings an episode, we haven't had one in weeks, but it's back.
Well, see, they wanted to slow down so when they do it, they make it special. So they waited 3 or 4 weeks, and then another kidnapping came up. All the baby faces are hugging, and suddenly MJF is on the big screen. They're on the football field, imagine that, at the goalpost, and they've kidnapped Dean Malenko. And their poor Dean Malenko, a serious guy and a serious wrestler and a no-nonsense individual professionally all his life, is forced to sit there with a goofy look on his face like they've beat him up because he's close to Jericho. They established that last week when they saw Jericho talking to Dean Malenko for 10 seconds in the back. And that's when they have established. Why bother to go through a months-long build-up where you tell the story repeatedly of how Dean Malenko has helped and aided Jericho in his life and how close they are and their families or friends or whatever, when you can just have them talking in the back for 10 seconds the week before? But Jericho is so distraught that Dean Malenko has been kidnapped and assaulted that they immediately run next door to the football field.
Well, no. Ortiz, Santana, and Sammy run with great speed to the football stadium. Jericho, go back and watch Jericho running.
Okay, I must admit, I was watching the guys who were more fleet of foot.
He gets lost in the dust. You lose Chris Jericho because he can't run.
So about 5 minutes after the other guys get there, a golf cart pulls up and Jericho gets out. But anyway, so of course the Pinnacle jumps them from behind because they've been hiding in the concourse, the breezeway outside the fucking field, and they jump them as they're on the way. And to promote Football Field Fuckery 2, this time they're going to be serious when they have a 10-man fight on a football field. They pile drive all the baby faces all at the same time, including the FTR pile drove 2 of the fucking baby faces off the edge of the bleacher seats through tables onto the football field. and all the baby faces are left laying. Which, have you noticed that if you're a baby face in this company, whether you win or lose your match, you're getting a shit kicked out of you one way or the other. Yeah, every time.
Every time.
And the last line I wrote was, why the fuck was Eric Bischoff even there? And I'm not saying that he's not a good television performer. He's been on these A&E shows and Dark Side of the Ring shows. He's a funny, entertaining, obnoxious, smarmy asshole. Because it's very true to life. We all have our, the best gimmick is close to us. But like I said, that's a fucking day and a half commitment from Wyoming to Florida and back just to stand there and fucking introduce this shit and then stand back and watch it happen. In a pandemic, for a guy 60-something years old, I'm glad that he's got that much motivation, because I don't care who asked me how nicely and whether cake was involved or not. I get that. I see more and more what CM Punk means when he said, I don't want to come back because I'd just be another guy doing bad television.
That's right.
Because no matter what the talent or the name value or the reputation of anybody that's been in wrestling, every time they get on one of these programs, you think less of them after you see it than you did before. It diminishes their reputation instead of enhancing it. So, and also he's crazy for taking that whole trip just to do that for whatever he got paid. I would have said him, I tell you, if they called me on the phone and said, we'll give you $5,000 to go from Wyoming to Florida and back just to fucking host this thing, I said, how about I'll send you a check for $6,000. Don't call me again.
I don't think Eric would be making that offer.
Anyway, so that's what that was. The first night of Friday night tomfoolery, I guess is what we're going to call it. Since we've already got football field fuckery and I got to work on my alliterations with the letter F.
What a rough time to go to Fridays. I mean, you have the pay-per-view this weekend, but then the next month, it's all Fridays for 2 hours, 10 p.m. That's rough.
Okay, what do you think the numbers? I'm gonna say this before you give your thought on what the number is going to be, because we don't even know about this yet. It hadn't even been off the air for 12 hours. But we were right so far over the last several weeks. We said they had Tyson. They got it was Shaquille. They got Shaq and they got 1.2 million. Then they dropped back below $1 million. Then they got Tyson. They got over $1 million because they were unopposed. Then they dropped back under $1 million. A lot of people are saying, well, geez, if they're only doing 800 and something thousand people on Wednesday night at 8 o'clock, how many are they going to do on Thursday night at 10, half, whatever? No, I predict that they will do at least 3/4 of their normal audience, even on Friday night at 10 o'clock. And the reason I say that is because if you're willing to watch this shit and you're willing to fucking put up with the stuff that you are fed on this television program, you are a fanatic that is blind beyond all reason to what you're looking at, and you're going to follow it anywhere. So I don't care if they put this thing on at 4 o'clock on Thursday morning, they will have almost the same number of people watching it, because I predict these people will accept anything and apparently have no other life. So I think they're going to do almost as good on Friday night at 10 as they would do on Wednesday night at 8, because these people will go out of their way to watch this horse shit if they have to crawl across broken glass. Now, there ain't enough of them to make a good number, but there's enough of them to fucking keep this thing afloat. What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, the Friday night thing is what throws the monkey wrench in there, especially the time. Do I think they'll maintain, let's say, 1 million viewers? I don't, just because of the Friday night thing.
Right, no.
I'm going to go with, just to be foolish, 877.
What?
877,000.
Wait a minute, what did they do last week on Wednesday night?
Hold on, I got to pull that up. I will look for it. AEW ratings. Last Wednesday, is not here. Hold on. I didn't expect to have to pull this up.
Thinking. You didn't expect me to throw a monkey wrench into your plans. I will say this while you look for that information. Here's another thing that I'll give them for free. A nice piece of advice. Mr. Booker of the Year, I know you're smart and you know much more than us inexperienced little amateurs do, but since you're going to be from 10 to midnight several times at least, I would suggest you go back in your VHS collection and you start watching some Saturday night's main events and learn how to book a show backwards to combat people fighting sleep. Because you need your strongest match within your, not first, but within your first hour at least. Get it in before 11 o'clock, and then have something of a little bit less importance that you can billboard to the end of the show. But if you'll recall the Hulk Hogan match on Saturday night's main event, 11:30 to 1 Eastern, in those days, they opened up with something, then they had the main event, and then they had some other things, but people are fighting sleep, and once you go past 11:30 especially, and they were going 11:30 to 1, you're losing people by attrition, whether they're interested or not. So if he keeps trying to format that, well, goddamn, the way this show is formatted, it's in a mix master. You don't know what the fuck time of day it might be on. You can't tell, but it would behoove Mr. Khan to not expect the main event to go on at 11:40 p.m. and to be the highest rated segment from this, in these programs. So I would put my important shit, I'd front load it to at least get into prime time before 11 o'clock comes. Now, have you found the numbers?
I did, and I want to revise my prediction. I'm going to predict 800. Last week did 821.
Okay, then in that case, I'm going to predict 714.
All right. We'll see what happens.
By the way, I didn't know that we were allowed to revise our predictions after we got actual documentation on facts. But you cheated a little bit there, but you basically, your first prediction was that they were going to do more people Friday night at 10 than they did last Wednesday.
Not realizing, I thought I got the week before confused. The week before was 9:36. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. No, as we've said, they continue to drop in their regular time slot every time they hotshot something, Blood and Guts, Mike Tyson or whatever. They get over 1 million, then they'll drop back below it, then they'll drop another time or two, and then they'll do something else that's supposedly hot. But in this case, in the month of June, they're going to have trouble with that. So I do predict that they will do a big number, over 1 million people, on one of the first few shows they have back in July or whenever it is at their regular time, because they will hotshot something and they'll be back at their regular time and they'll get over 1 million. And then those extra 200,000 or 300,000 people will have reminded themselves that this program is the shits, and they won't come back until the next time that something gets hot-shotted. But if you also notice, the more you hot-shot, get a big number, then drop, then hot-shot, get a big number, after you've done that several times, your hot-shot big number is not as big as it used to be. And then when you drop, your last little drop is lower than the previous ones have been. And then you hot-shot, and it's not quite as big. And then you drop, and it gets a little lower. They have the built-in base audience that, as we said, will eat this Elmer's glue and thank them for the ice cream anytime, any place, anywhere. But that's your 700,000 or so, and the rest of them are negotiable, and they're not doing a good job of closing the deal. That's my final comments. And that's my prediction. Let's hide and watch and see what else comes true that I say, just because I have 2 eyes and a fucking functioning brain and can see this shit a mile away like everybody else can and won't admit it. What do you think, Brian?
I think we'll see what happens. And of course, we should remind everyone on the drive-thru this coming Tuesday, a review of AEW's Double or Nothing pay-per-view extravaganza.
As well as the A&E biography on our good friend Mick Foley, which I'm looking forward to seeing this one. Because I like anything to do. Mick is he's one of those people. You just can't be mad at Mick Foley. And certainly this will not be a hit piece, but both because he's a great guy and he's still alive.
That would be awesome, though.
What, trying to do a hit piece on Mick Foley?
Mick Foley's a bastard.
What could you come up with? I wonder if somebody tried to say bad things about. I think I've said the worst thing about Mick that was ever said when I said he's way too nice a person to be in the wrestling business, because he's nice to all these fucking nitwits that he shouldn't even be. Otherwise, that's the worst thing I can think of anybody's ever said.
If you really want to upset him, just make the whole thing about how Santa Claus sucks.
Hey, fuck Santa Claus. I believe you'd get Cactus to punch you if you say, hey, fuck Santa Claus, a big fat piece of shit. Well, you've gone too far now. Yeah, there you go.
You know, that's a good thing to point out, though. Like, Cactus Jack has always had this fascination with Santa Claus. Mick Foley has, I should say.
Yes.
We didn't know about this till years later, and his fame became a different thing. And imagine if we had known about it in, like, 1990. Imagine if he was like one of the modern wrestlers today. Instead of being Cactus Jack, a gimmick that would become successful for him and that he would hone over a few years and really make it his own.
Became the talk of all the wrestling fans.
Was something special. Instead of doing that, decided, hey, you know what? I like Santa Claus. Why don't I just make that my gimmick? That I'm a guy who looks like this and is happy and loves Santa Claus. That's what he would do if he was wrestling today.
And the announcers, when Cactus Jack was out there with no teeth in his mouth and fucking dropping the elbow on the concrete and going bang, bang, they'd say, you know, this guy, he loves Santa Claus. He's a big fan of Christmas. That's what would happen if yesterday was today. Thank goodness that I was there yesterday and I'm here today instead of the other way around, because I wouldn't be able to handle it.
And wait until you find out about tomorrow.
Tomorrow, the sun will come out tomorrow.
I knew it.
Bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow, come what may, tomorrow, I love you, tomorrow, you're only a day away. And we're out of time, folks. Until the drive-thru on Tuesday, the experience next week. More bad wrestling will be talked about. Hopefully there will be a shining diamond in this pile of steaming shit. But we'll try to make it entertaining regardless. That's all that the wrestling fans have left now, Brian, is to watch and listen to me and you tell them what's wrong with this shit. It makes it entertaining. Anyway, until those programs, we're done for now. Thank you, fuck you, and bye-bye, everybody.